question for you, Connor. Have you noticed that since you moved to Japan, you just start bowing for everything?
No, but you know what I do? I do anime reaction noises. Like,
No, I do the same thing as well.
and you probably think, what the fuck? That's weird as fuck, Connor. Why would you do that? Like, yeah. Okay, this is why it makes so much sense now, right? Because whenever they ask me for like anything at the supermarket, I'm like caught off guard, right?
Yeah.
It makes total sense why they do it in anime now.
No, because I've noticed when Japanese people, when you're talking to them, they need to make it known that they're listening.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they
yeah.
all like in England, people just kind of just stand there or just nod. Japanese like hi, and I've started doing the same thing as well. Whenever someone's talking, I'm always having to make it known that
I do that in interviews, and people are like, "Can Joey just shut up for 5 seconds and just let the other person talk?"
Japanese.
But I have to. All right.
God. Damn.
Oh yeah, I guess we're putting that at the beginning.
That's the beginning. And that's the intro. Go ahead, take it away, Joey.
take it away.
What's up, you naughty Neanderthals? Welcome back to another episode of Trash Taste Podcast. I am not going to stop doing
How
these.
long were you sitting on that for? Was that like
2 seconds.
I bet you have a fucking script of just going through the alphabet.
Excel sheet?
Exactly. I'm like, I have to make an alliteration somehow. So let's just pick a letter and just roll with it. Well, welcome to Trash Taste, the show where we talk about a trash taste and everything else in the world. I'm your host for today, Joey.
God.
And as always, I'm
We're
with
actually
Sean
doing
Connor.
We're doing this now. We're properly doing this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Hello.
So, this episode, I thought we would maybe talk about something. I don't know if it's going to get a little too personal. We'll try not to go a too personal route.
Yeah.
But, you know, to go back to the whole thing about how we first started talking about anime and how we got into anime. We've already done an episode on that.
Yeah,
before,
we've already
right?
done our origin story.
But how did we meet, or how did we make our first, I don't know how to say it, anime friend? Is that a thing?
I don't know. Okay, so I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
Okay, to start this off, because we talked about our anime origin story, like how we got into anime.
Yeah.
But when you guys were anime fans, did you have any friends in
No.
school or anything, or how did you guys deal with that? Because I was a closet anime fan.
Yeah.
Same.
I was a complete closet
Same,
anime
same.
fan.
For all of school?
But yeah,
Yes.
I think that's a British thing though. Like I got rinsed for playing video games. So like imagine if I came out and was like, this. I like this.
I like anime too.
This is my new thing now.
I
They'd
like
be
these drawn
yeah.
2D TVs.
Yeah, like can you believe I got mocked for playing video games in school and now it's just like the accepted pastime, right? I got so much shit for that.
That's weird because in my school, video games were quite normalized. Was it just your school, maybe?
Did you?
No, I got rinsed in my school as
Really?
well.
Okay.
Unless you're
British.
playing FIFA,
FIFA or
or
COD.
COD,
Which
then-
I was, and I still got rinsed.
What?
Like
Yeah.
I would be sitting in my room in university playing some RPG,
Yeah.
hoping that nobody opens the door to discover the fact that I was playing JRPGs
Oh yeah,
or
no.
any other kind
I
of
think
video
if I
game.
came out saying that I was a massive JRPG
Yeah.
fan, where I was, you know, playing Persona 3 or something, then yeah, I probably would have gotten beaten up as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But
I got so much shit for playing RuneScape, and I still to this day,
Really?
I think I love RuneScape. I remember some videos popped up in my recommended recently, and I had a great time watching them.
because in my school, I think my group of friends, we were more so than not, I guess, like the nerdy group of friends.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was too.
yeah.
I was
So
too.
so a lot of my friends from high school got me into games like RuneScape,
Yeah, fucking
like
love that, honestly.
StarCraft, you know, other just like LAN games like Civilization, like
Yeah.
you know, those games back in the day. But when it came to anime, I think I had a really tough time because I was literally the only Asian kid in my school. Like,
Oh no, same here. I was the only Asian kid in my school
with like
as well.
any amount of Asian
Can't-
blood. Like
can't-
I'm not even like full blood Asian, but it's just like, oh, this boy's a little bit Oriental, isn't he? Ooh. He eats rice. What the hell? Yeah. So I think I was a closet anime fan for, man, I want to say like majority of my high school life. But then my group of friends who got me into like StarCraft and RuneScape, I was like, okay, you guys are nerdy enough. Maybe I can try and
Yeah.
convince them to watch something. And I convinced one of my friends to watch Ava.
Oh,
So I was like, okay.
why Ava?
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna
not
say.
really the gateway anime I would think
I
of.
don't know. Maybe because was recently rewatching Ava,
Yeah.
and I thought, okay, this is probably normy enough
No.
that they can
See,
maybe get into it.
Recommending Ava as someone's first anime, that could go one of two ways.
Yeah.
And there's going to be no middle ground.
No.
Either he's going to think this is amazing and he's a fan
But
for
the
life.
thing is, I didn't want to get them into like Naruto or One Piece or Dragon
Death
Ball
Note.
to start with because we all know if your gateway anime is One Piece, Naruto, or Dragon Ball,
You're gonna be in that
that's
gateway.
all you're
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
talking about for the rest of your career. So
Hey man, I don't know, man. I mean, I got in through Naruto, but I mean, I remember the point
got
when
out. You got out.
I got out. There was the point when I would only watch shonen, and I know exactly the exact phase you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then you figure out that, there's other things outside of shonen that are pretty cool in this medium, and some people, I guess, just never figure that out.
I feel like Naruto fans are like the British with food. It's like, no. Potatoes is all we need. Spice?
yeah, what is it about? What is it about? Like, it's not obviously not all shonen fans, but a lot of shonen fans who, are, as you said, like get into say Naruto and then just exclusively talk about Naruto. It's like, what is it? I want to know what their mentality is, right, with anime, where it's like, do they just think that everything that's not Naruto is just hentai? Like, there's like, no, there's no in between. It's either shonen or just like straight up R18 shit. Like,
Well, they're like, what is this high school romance shit? I don't want to feel. I want to feel one emotion, and that's hype. And
shoujo?
I was gonna
Is
say,
that a type of shonen?
It must be the thing of like, I get it because it's hype as fuck, but
Yeah.
they just must want hype their whole life.
Yeah.
Like,
Just being like a crack addict,
Yeah.
right? Like you only want to feel that high you get from crack.
It's like steroids
there's
just
the
for the
same
eyes.
people who
right?
are like, yo, E3, it was crazy this year. every game. I'm hyped for every game. And then they don't play any of them. They play like the next Modern Warfare.
Yeah, but then the moment there's like a bad news article about the game that just came out in E3, they're like, yeah, I knew it was shit the whole time. Yeah, no, so like my anime friend, so there was a group of them. It was like me and maybe, like I'd say like 6 or 7 guys who I used to like really, really closely hang out with in high school. And I got one of my friends who got me into like StarCraft. I got him to watch Ava. And I wanted to try that just with one person. I didn't want to like bring in a whole group of people into
Hey guys, group viewing.
So I kind of was just like, eeny, meeny, okay, you watch Ava. And he was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And he was kind of meh about it at first.
I like anime, and I was like at points like kind of like, what
Yeah,
the-
and that was the moment where I was like, oh, gateway anime are important. And Ava is not that.
always Death Note. You can never go wrong with Death Note.
Yeah, so I think that one friend, he watched Ava, and then he eventually found Death Note.
Yeah.
And and One Piece. And those were like the 2 shows that he heavily got
Yeah,
into. So I was like, okay, then maybe I can try it out with the other boys. Hey, watch Death Note, watch One
The
Piece.
other boys.
And-
There was boys before us. Joey, what
Yeah.
do you mean?
These are the OG boys. Do you know what the name of our like? This is gonna be really cringy, but we had like a group name.
What was the name, Joey?
It was we were called HBK because we were. Did you guys ever play handball in school?
I think that's an Australian thing.
I think that's an Australian thing. So in Australian schools we play handball, but not like the Olympic sport handball, like school grounds handball.
Okay.
But usually most kids in Australia stop playing handball by around like 6th grade.
Right.
So it's very rarely you go into middle school or
Where are
high
you
school
going with
and
this
play
story?
handball. We played handball all the way until high school graduation, and we were
Right.
the only ones. And so from nowhere, we were called HBK, which is the handball crew. And we were
Crew with a K,
Crew with
of
a K.
course.
And it's not like and it was just out of nowhere. One day, just the other boys in our year just saw us playing handball, and they were like HBK. And we're like, what the fuck? What the fuck does that mean? And then we later found out it meant handball crew. And normal people would be like, oh, that's fucking cringy.
Yeah.
But we were like, handball crew. Hell yeah.
I think handball is something I've only heard Australians play in their school. Because
Oh, yeah.
I've seen handball in the Olympics and everything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I don't, when we had like a British team, I'm like, when did they play that?
I know, right?
But it's
What are they
completely
like?
different to the Olympic sport.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
So when I saw handball, because I'd always known handball as that thing that you play in school, where it's like 4 white squares and you kind of like
Yeah.
It's basically just tennis but with your hand.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and a
Okay.
tennis ball and in really confined space. So when I saw handball, the Olympic sport, I was like, what the fuck is this? This isn't handball.
No, it's really interesting to hear you say, going back to the anime conversation that we were having, because I didn't even make my first anime friend till I started YouTube.
Yeah,
like,
same.
and
Really?
that was
Same.
years after I started YouTube.
Oh,
so
wow.
I didn't start talking to other people who liked anime until the age of the internet, where I literally started talking to other people who reviewed anime.
right.
Because back when I was in school, and especially when I was in university, I did everything I could to keep it under wraps. Like
even,
this,
even in uni?
Even in uni.
Really?
It was like top secret, confidential. If you find this out, I'm gonna change my identity or something like that.
I remember someone walked into my room of me watching No Game No Life in university, and it was the moment of like, how do I explain what's going on here? Because it's one of the bad scenes as well. I'm like,
I have a really similar story. So in uni, we're first year of university in England at least, we have this thing called Freshers Week, where you basically go out every night and get pissed and
very, very drunk.
Get very, very drunk and
Every night.
just go clubbing.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. So me being the, socially awkward nerd that I was back then, I would still try to go out as much as I could, but
Yeah,
I mean, it can get tiring. 6 or 7 days of just pure clubbing every day, man, that shit gets to you.
Yeah.
It was a lot, man.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
how people do it. And then people would like look forward to it the next year. And
I know.
And I'm like,
I don't know how I feel 30 already in this 1 week of freshers. So this one night I was just in a club and I wasn't even that drunk. Because I'd been drinking 5 or 6 days before that.
Yeah.
And so I was just in the middle of this dance floor and I just had like this epiphany. I'm having a shit time. I'd rather be watching anime right now. Like I was just that one guy who just danced in a club and just had this is shit.
that's literally every time I go to the club. I'm like, I need more drinks.
Yeah. So instead of getting more drinks, I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna fuck off and go home and watch some bloody anime. And I didn't tell anyone that I was fucking off back home. So I go find myself.
You're that guy in uni.
Yeah.
I'm the lone wolf. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, I just wanted to watch some anime in it. And what the fuck am I doing in a club when I could be watching some big fat anime titties? Which is exactly what I did.
You can put that on a t-shirt.
I go back to my room, and as you do in uni, unlike Americans in England, we have our own private rooms, so we don't room share.
Yeah, the
with
thought
anyone.
of having to share a room with someone, I'd go fucking insane.
Yeah, exactly. So I have this room all to myself, and as you do, I take off my trousers because as a guy, you're just more comfortable in your boxers.
The jeans are too
you
restrictive.
just are,
They're too
okay?
restrictive.
Jeans are way too restrictive. So take off my trousers, start sitting down, turn on my laptop, and put on the episode of Monogatari.
The toothbrush? The toothbrush scene, is it going to be?
No, it was the shower scene with Senja
God.
Gahara.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like episode 2, and I was really getting into this.
Wait, what do you mean getting into this?
And I was like, no, because it was Monogatari. It's a good series.
Okay.
It's a good scene.
And then
how sober are you at this point? Like
I
fully
was-
sober? Like
I was like
that
a
point where you
little.
feel shitty? Like
I was like a little bit tipsy, but I was. I was just having a good time because when you haven't watched anime in a while and it just feels good to watch anime after that anime drought.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
just, oh man, this is just a nice break from all the drinking and clubbing and socializing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And as soon as it gets to the shower scene, I just hear this door creak open like and then I look around and then one of my flatmates is just staring at me and I turn around and it's just me and my boxers watching, and all he sees is just Senja Gahara's massive tits on screen taking a shower. And I try to eye him up to be like, this isn't what it looks like. And he eyes me back saying, oh shit, this is exactly what it looks like.
You should have asserted dominance, just maintained eye contact.
and then he just closes the door. And I'm just like, okay, I'm moving to China now. He knows my secrets. And then he just never spoke to me again.
I have a way worse story than that.
Okay.
It was again like during high school when I'd gotten like the one friend that I got him into Ava. So he, unlike everybody else, like everybody kind of got into anime. Like I was closeted for a while, but I kind of was like, I need to get out of the closet. So I need to try and convince my friends that this is an okay thing to watch. And so
You need to make a YouTube video saying, I'm coming out.
yeah,
Just-
I'm coming out. I like anime.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly
sorry.
right.
So the one friend that the guy I first experimented on, he
why are you got to use this terminology, Jerry? To explain.
I was experimenting.
It's
I was
just like light Yagami planning every step, being like, okay, if I show them this anime, maybe
Yeah.
they'll like that.
It's like maybe one of them will like get into it, and sure enough, one of them got into it. So I was just like, Keikakudori. So he just my one friend. He really got into anime. And I'm talking like him and I would come to school every week. And we would discuss the episodes that just came out like the night before. Like him and I were like full on like anime buddies. And one night we were drinking at a friend's place, and obviously, you know, as you do when you're in high school, you get really shit-faced, right?
Of course.
And I was staying at his place, and I had like missed the bus home and everything, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna crash at yours. And it was just him and I, and we were like, we should watch some anime. Like, you know, just why not? Let's just watch some anime. And he's and I don't know how it came to it, but we were just kind of scrolling through, just looking for something to watch, and he's like, "You watch this? No. You watch this? No." And I just kind of slowly turned to him, just as a gag. I was like, "You ever heard of Kiss Sis?"
Oh no!
And he's like, "No, what's that?" And he's like, and I'm like, "We should check it out. Let's just watch one episode, just for shits and giggles. Let's watch an episode of Kiss Sis." So imagine, me and my friend sitting in a room, just, you know, 6 feet apart because we're not gay. Just watching,
just bonding over an episode of Kiss
just
Sis.
bonding over an
This sounds
episode
like
of Kiss
every
Sis.
incest moment happens
Yeah.
in like porn.
And it was worse because I don't know how long he was standing at the door, but his little brother was standing at the door, just watching us watch Kiss Sis, and we were like into it too. We were like, oh hell yeah. Like we were like
This kid's there like Mike Wazowski. Like,
mind you, we were very drunk, right? So we were like, oh, it was like, who's your favorite? And he's like, oh man, they're both really cute. And just, you know, full on like, you would have thought we were like making a reaction video. We were like full on commentating the entire thing.
Oh my god!
And what was supposed to be just, you know, just for shits and giggles, just one episode of Kiss Sis, we binged the entire series in one night.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Did
How
he
many
enjoy it?
episodes?
He loved it. and that was the moment where I was like, this guy's a
so
kid.
if Joe don't go home with Joey drunk, he'll try and show you shitty.
Oh yeah, no, I've done that all the
I
time.
like the fact that you had to wait until he was alone and
Yeah, because these other boys were like discussing, you know, how good the Alabaster arc in One Piece was, and I'm like, I don't think these boys are ready for Kiss Sis yet. these guys are like these guys are level 1 thief, and these guys are like level 10 mafia boss, right? So I was like, let's experiment with the mafia
Joey's
boss.
like the sensei who sees the hidden potential in that one student. He's like, I can teach you the way.
sense it in you.
You're ready to learn. You're ready to upgrade.
So did he enjoy more of that kind of show afterwards?
So then that was the point where we basically, him and I, we found out from each other that we're into those kinds of shows, or we're okay with those kinds of shows.
We're just into each other.
We were just into those kinds of shows.
Kiss, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
after we finished Kiss Sis, we were both just like, I just gotta let you know, bro, now that we've had this fucking like journey together, that I'm like secretly into these shows. And he's like,
every single moment of the story you're telling could be like a coming out to each other.
oh yeah, yeah.
Like
And he was like, dude, I'm kind of into these shows too. And then from there,
Are you doing this on purpose?
and then
Dude,
from,
I'm kind of into it.
No,
Mike's like, I'm a head out.
Mike's just had enough.
Mike's like, I gotta get the fuck out. and yeah, so from that point on, I kind of was. I became a lot more open with like my
But you're
my trashy taste in anime, right?
Joey's like, yes, I'm hentai sexual.
I'm right.
Are you purposely picking words
No,
to do this?
no.
Stop this.
I am writing. Look, Yaoi writers, this is free real estate, all right? Like, go for it. But yeah, but that was the point where I slowly realized, oh, if I'm closeted, then yeah, I'll obviously have a lot of fun, you know, just kind of
Yeah.
enjoying this medium for myself. But
Yeah.
there's a whole other enjoyment when you get someone else into it as well.
I know. I remember the first time I was able to have conversations about anime with other people, and that was just so liberating for me.
Yeah.
That I had spent all of these years enjoying this medium, but have literally nobody to talk to it about.
Yeah.
And then I made YouTube videos to be like, okay, if I can't have anyone to talk to it about, I'm just gonna talk to the void, and hopefully someone will listen. And I remember having some of the first genuine conversations online, because it had to be online back then, about shows that I liked, and I just felt free.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who your first friend in like the anime YouTube sphere was. For me, it was probably Holden Reviews and the people from Potaku, going way back then.
I think mine might have been Misty.
Yours is Misty.
I think.
I don't even know. I mean, except for the one in jail. I don't think there's anyone else I would categorize as like a lot of them were just like fleeting, mutuals.
Yeah.
I'd say you guys are probably the first proper friends that I made outside of that first,
Yeah, because
in the
it was strange for me because I'm the complete opposite when it comes to my friend circle on YouTube, where you would think that I would be very quick to bond with other AniTubers once starting an anime YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But weirdly enough, for like the first 2 years or so, I was only friends with gaming YouTubers.
Yeah,
But that's also because I was doing a lot of gaming stuff alongside anime
Yeah.
stuff. And I think it honestly might have been Misty that was the first like proper AniTuber. And that was when I discovered this entire community of AniTubers. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not the only one. Like,
Yeah.
there are other people who do this stuff
Yeah.
as well. And then that's when I kind of to drift away from more of the gaming stuff and focus on what my channel was actually about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, I realized we get comments sometimes that are like me listening to the podcast, and it's like that guy sitting next to me.
I love that picture. I love that meme.
That's
It's
great.
so good.
Because I remember I was doing my A levels. I remember listening to Podtaku actually.
Oh,
I remember I used to
really?
listen to it. Yeah, I would do my. I remember I have this distinct memory of you guys arguing. I don't know over what, but I was doing
We
my
argue
math.
over a lot of things.
Yeah, I was doing my math A levels. And I remember just listening to it, and I was like, man, I want to like be in that and talk to them. Right?
I want to have friends.
I want to
man.
like talk to friends about anime because I know that even at that point when I was like 17, I still had no one to talk to about anime.
Yeah.
And I didn't really make friends until university, but I got banned from my anime club Facebook group because they were talking about like Hellsing Abridged, and I was like, oh shit, I voiced in that. I said in the comments, I was like, oh yeah, I voiced in it, and then they banned me. So they thought I was lying because they were like, why would someone in our university, first year be voicing in Hellsing Abridged? And then I went to the club and I explained that it's like 2 months later I went.
Yeah.
I happened to go there anyway. And I was like, yeah, can you like unban me from the club? I don't know why you guys banned me. And they're like, oh, we don't know. I'm like, I know you fucking know why you banned me.
We can't have someone having clout.
Yeah, I did.
That's
I was in that group for like a year, and I made one comment about that. I got immediately banned. Fuck you,
They
Swansea
were just
Anime
waiting
Club.
for the fucking ban hammer on that.
Yeah.
They were like, nope, no clout in this club.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So you joined the anime club in your university then?
I joined. I paid the £2 a year membership, and then all they did was watch Ghibli movies, and like that's all they did. And I'm like, this
I
isn't-
joined the anime club. My university was the biggest mistake
It's
ever.
like it's weird because it's like a mixture of like it's a mixture of people who like don't really care about anime and like one or two people who are way too into it or into really different niches. So it kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
felt like I don't know. I couldn't really talk with. None of them watched the same shit I watched.
Yeah.
And it was the same with gaming. Like the gaming club in my uni was like supposed to be gaming, and it was all just Magic the Gathering.
Well, I mean, it's a type of game, isn't it?
It's the type of game, but you'd think a gaming club.
Yeah, they diversify a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
more,
And I was
right?
like,
Yeah.
well, guess I'm not joining any clubs in uni. Brony club it is.
I'm
I
kind
ju-
of. Oh, go for
Oh
it.
no, I was gonna say like I made a whole video on it like a while ago, but I joined the anime club. There was one anime club at Sydney Uni, and I joined it, and I went to one of their events.
Yeah.
just one, and it was
Yeah.
a screening, and it was of Paprika.
Right.
I was like, okay, it's a screening, and it's of a non-Ghibli movie. Okay,
Yeah.
whoever's picking it must know anime.
They have taste. They know something outside of just Miyazaki.
I
right?
know. I was like, okay, and I wanted to watch Paprika because I hadn't seen it yet, and so I went to it, and the club wasn't that big. It was maybe I'd say 40 people in this room,
Yeah.
Right.
which is quite small club for especially Sydney Uni. And I was like, okay, these people all seem to be excited about this movie. Let's watch it. And this is the one thing I hate about anime clubs, and also this is the one thing I hate about cinemas in the US is that they love to fucking commentate on what's happening in the movie out loud.
I cannot stand that.
I can't fucking stand. I can't stand, especially U.S. cinemas.
Yeah.
It's something about U.S. cinemas where it's like if there's like a big epic, right? Like say
Yeah.
you go and watch fucking Avengers or something, right?
Yeah.
And something massive happens or some whatever. There's always like at least 10 or 20 people who are just like, yeah, fucking,
Bro.
and they just go off about like they give like their like fucking Rotten Tomatoes review like on the spot.
I
right?
feel
It's
like I'm 80 years old whenever I'm at one of those screens because I'm just like, quiet down. I'm trying to enjoy the film.
I'm like, can you? Shut the fuck up! We're trying to watch the movie.
There's like special occasions, where it's kind of warranted. Like watching Endgame. All right, I get it. You can shout. I watched Promare at AX. Insane. The hype made it amazing. The worst thing was, one of my exes I went to the cinema with. never watched a movie in the cinema before. And I was like, all right, cool. And then she was one of those people. Didn't know that, because how do you know that? That's not like on a Tinder bio, right? Like, and then she like shouted during the first 5 minutes, and I was like, okay. In my head, I'm thinking, all right, let's not make this a reoccurring thing. And then like 2 minutes later, she shouts again, and I'm like, please don't do this. Please, I'm British. You can't do this. I can't be seen with you if you're making a commotion in public.
Yeah.
And then that's how I realized that it wasn't right for me.
That's why I like Japanese cinemas, man, because like it's
No. Okay, go ahead.
Oh
Sorry.
no, I know how you feel about Japanese cinemas.
All right, go ahead.
It's but like for there's a part of it that I like, and there's a part of it that I don't like. The part that I like about it is that people aren't fucking shouting their Rotten Tomatoes reviews.
No
during the
one
movie.
says anything.
No
in
one
Japanese.
says anything.
I
but-
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I like
like
that too.
that.
It's because especially if it's a movie that you need to immerse yourself in, like
Yeah.
fucking Paprika, for
Yeah.
instance.
Yeah.
It's like I want it to be just quiet and,
Yeah.
and I want to get into it.
Yeah.
But the bad thing is that I went to go see the Konosuba movie,
Yeah.
Right.
which is easily one of the funniest anime movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And but I felt really bad laughing out loud because I was literally the only person laughing out loud in the cinema. And every time I was like, oh, fuck. I don't think that was supposed to be funny. Did anybody else find that funny? Is
No,
it just me?
no. I've had similar experiences in Thai movies or going to Thai cinemas where I remember watching Your Name in Thai cinemas, and I don't know if it's just a cultural difference,
Yeah.
but there would be times when they were laughing and I would be like, "What?
That's not
Why?
funny."
Why is this funny?" And then there'd be a really funny joke, and then I'd be the only guy laughing. And I'm like, "Am I the asshole here? Do I just have a really weird sense of humor?"
I know. I felt so bad because I was like, is anyone genuinely not finding this movie
Yeah.
funny? Like, am I the only one? Yeah. I hated it.
I've been going to the cinema, at least before COVID. Like, I was going like pretty much every week.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's some of things they do great. Like, I know I showed you guys this in the cinema.
Yeah.
That when you buy popcorn and the drink, they give you this tray.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's cool. And then you realize you can put it in the cup holder.
Yeah.
And it sticks. So you have a whole tray that's in the cup holder. It's
Yeah.
fucking genius.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to hold this shit.
Yeah.
I can just put it on
You don't
the
have
tray.
to put like fucking greasy things.
Yeah,
in your
yeah,
mouth,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Put your popcorn on your tray, and the person next to you can have it.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Amazing, right? Amazing. And then the thing that I hate. Oh, also, yeah, no noise. The only time I've ever seen them make noise in a Japanese cinema, right? I was watching the movie, and it was about a bomb that was going to go off in one of the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And it's this police officer's accused. Anyway, they go to his house to search his house. And they ask him, do you have any guns? And he's like, yeah, I have guns. And he shows his, like, under his mattress. And he has, like, 100 guns.
Okay.
And the whole cinema goes, whoa. Every Japanese person's like, whoa.
Sugoi.
Meanwhile, if they show that in the US cinema, you know, there's like
Yeah, lift up your arms.
weak sauce,
Second Amendment, yeah.
weak sauce.
I realized I said the wrong amendment. Anyway, and then also one really annoying thing, right? When the movie ends, right? The credits come. All right,
Yeah.
see you guys, I'm off.
Yeah.
Japanese cinemas, you cannot leave
No.
until the credits are over.
Yeah.
And some of these credits go on for like 20 fucking minutes. And I'm like, the first few times I was like, you know what? I'll respect the culture. I'll
Yeah.
wait. Now I'm just like, credits. I'm going. Fuck you
Yeah.
guys. I'm not waiting for 20 minutes.
Caveman brain activate again.
I don't care about the 7 people who did costume design. I'm sorry, like I'm not sticking around for that long.
And then like I'm the asshole who like in front of 100 thing is like, all right, see you guys. Just walking. Like I don't give a fuck. I'm not waiting 30 minutes. Or
yeah,
20
I found that aspect cool because, you know, obviously the people who go to the cinemas, they respect it. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, I
Yeah.
want to know who did and
Yeah,
who worked
yeah,
on this
yeah.
movie. But as you said, I think the Japanese like film industry is aware that people have to stick around to the credits. So they're like, how do we like extend this as
Yeah.
long as we can? It's like a YouTuber trying to extend a video to 10 minutes, right? It's like, how do we extend this credit to 10 minutes to get that mid-roll in?
I don't know, like I used to be the same where I would think, why the fuck would anyone stay when the credits rolling? I don't give a shit about this. And then I remember I did it once for a movie that just blew me away. I think I can't remember the exact name.
Paul Blart.
But I remember most recently I did it after watching Your Name and Silent Voice.
Yeah.
And it's actually just a really nice feeling just to like absorb everything you just watch and just sit there in silence. I don't know when a movie,
sometimes I can agree with
yeah,
that.
when a movie like hits really deep, then I can't like we're doing this again. We're doing this
Oh
again.
my God.
But when a movie affects me that way.
There you go. You got it. You got it, buddy. You got
Then
it.
it's just
Thesaurus extend.
then it's just nice just to absorb everything you just watch instead of just being like, all right, boys, I'm off. You know, I'm off. That was movie good. I'm going. movie good. I go.
That's the one thing I appreciate about some film credits, right? Like, you know, if it's like, I really enjoy watching, you know, the Toy Story credits because they do the, you know, the behind the scenes bloopers reel shit.
Oh, no,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that shit's fucking cool. But when it's a black screen and just white text scrolling
Yeah.
for
Which
10
it often
minutes,
is.
which it
Yeah,
often is, then I'm just like, I mean, you guys know we have to stick around for the credits. Can you at least make it entertaining in some fashion? And even isn't it the worst as well when the credits song is just like, I'm not dinging this credits song at all, and I have to fucking sit here and listen to the whole goddamn song.
I'm too lazy for that. I just leave and then I watch the after scene credit on YouTube.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
it's gonna be on YouTube.
yeah, but you can use the Gaijin card, right?
Yeah,
that
well, I
sense.
mean, no one really cares. Sometimes when I do it, the Japanese will be like, "Oh, we can do that," and then they'll get up too. I noticed.
Follow the white man.
They're like, whoa, wait! No one's stopping him. like I know what I.
Yo, he just cheated the system. What? I never thought you could do that.
Because when I do it, I notice I'll get a few lucks, and then I'll be like 2 or 3 people who stand up and go as well.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, join me. Join me. It is freedom, sir.
It's like the trust system that Japan runs on, like buying alcohol.
I'm slowly breaking that trust. I'm like- I don't know. I've just the more I don't know. I say the older I get, the more I you know have less time. The more I just don't appreciate shit that wastes my time, and I'm just like, nope, I'm not waiting for your credits.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
exactly. Speaking of Gaijin card, though, have you guys ever used the Gaijin card in like funny situations? Shall we explain what the Gaijin card is?
Sure, you should probably all
Go for it, Joe.
Go for it.
I mean,
Joe.
I'm sure everyone knows what the Gaijin card is, right?
Yeah.
But basically, the Gaijin card is Gaijin means foreigner.
Yeah.
In Japanese, but playing the Gaijin card basically means you get away with shit that Japanese people wouldn't be able to get away with in Japan, but they forgive you because you're supposed to be like a mindless foreigner.
I mean,
Yeah.
I try not to actively like take advantage of it because I feel
No.
like it's not fair of me to like use being a foreigner as
Yeah.
you know, because everyone goes through the same struggles, right? Life's
Yeah.
hard enough, but I mean, there's some stuff like apparently you're not supposed to eat and walk here, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I do that. I don't know. Like if I have like 10 minutes to get to my train and I haven't had breakfast,
Yeah.
I'm grabbing
Yeah.
that sandwich and eating it. Like
Yeah.
I don't throw my shit away. I don't make a mess. So I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah, I always wonder that then why is it that a lot of convenience store food is so perfectly packaged for on the go?
Right,
shit?
I know,
right.
And it's
Like
like,
oni-
but you can't eat it on the go though.
Onigiri, just that's basically a rice sandwich. you
Yeah.
know? that's meant to be eaten as you're walking along. But
Yeah.
no, you can't
Yeah.
eat while you're
You're not
walking.
allowed to
yeah.
do
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no one gives me looks or anything like that. It's just I'm told I'm not supposed to do this, but fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. But there's stuff I wouldn't dare do.
I like playing. I like doing the reverse Gaijin card. I like playing the Gaijin card, and then immediately after I've committed the act, just bust out the Japanese. It's just like psych.
Reverse Uno.
Yeah, just reverse.
Can you give us an example of a situation?
So an example of a situation. I'm trying to think. What would be? I mean, something like that, right? Like not allowed to eat on the go, or like not allowed
Yeah.
to eat on the train, for example, where I would, as you said, like sometimes I'm busy and sometimes I got to get something down before
Yeah.
I catch the train. So
Exactly.
I would eat on the go, and people would kind of, just be like, whatever. But then what I like to do just to fuck with people is I finish the food and then just because I love seeing people's reactions to this, I finish the food and then I pretend to get in a phone call and I just talk in Japanese as loud as I can, just to because seeing the confused faces of Japanese people being like, is he Gaijin or is he not Gaijin? I don't even know anymore. Is my favorite fucking pastime.
I've done the exact same thing, but just when I'm in Thailand.
Yeah.
And you know when people gossip about you in their native tongue, and they don't know that you understand them, and
Yeah.
you just want to flex on them to be like, bitch, I know exactly what you're motherfucking saying.
yeah,
You better watch yourself, motherfucker.
Oh, dude, I've had so many experiences like that, especially when you're outside of Tokyo, where
Yeah.
they're obviously not used to the foreigners. I remember I was in a supermarket once with my sister. We were like really, really young. We were maybe like I was maybe like 9 or 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
And we were just in the aisle that has all like the snacks and stuff, right? Because
Right.
Japanese snacks are like the fucking best. And we were just picking stuff out, and there was this kid, probably around the same age as me, who was just like staring at us from like down the aisle. Obviously, because we looked foreigner, right?
Yeah,
And he'd
yeah.
obviously never seen a foreign kid in his
Kids
life.
stare a lot here.
Yeah. So he was just staring, and then his other friend came up, and I could clearly hear that they were like, "Oh, look at these fucking foreigners!" Like, it was to
Damn,
that.
those 9-year-olds learn
Yeah.
xenophobia fast.
Yeah, legit. They were like, "Oh man, look at these foreigners. They look so weird." Right? Like, something along that.
Yeah,
line.
yeah.
And I heard everything, and I'm just like, "Oh, you fuck it. Prepare for my backhand. Prepare for my 9-year-old backhand."
I've never decked a 9-year-old before, but today could be the day.
Yeah,
You're pushing it.
I've never clotheslined anybody, but man, you guys were just perfect distance. So just to fuck with them, I was like, my 9-year-old mind was like, I'll show them. And so so out loud to my sister, I said in Japanese, I said, "Have you finished selecting which one you want?" And I think my sister quickly picked up on it too, because I think she overheard it.
Yeah.
So she was like, "All right, I'll play your game." Back in Japanese, she was like, "Yeah, I've almost finished." And then she busted out this really like specific Japanese reference. And from my periphery, just I'd never seen like a 9-year-old with like a PogChamp face in my life, but it was just like they were like, "What?" It was, you would have thought these kids would have seen like the face of God. Like they were just like, "Oh my God, what the fuck is that?" And just to fuck with them even further, when we finished selecting our shit, I purposely went towards the kids. And as I passed by, I busted out a sumimasen. And that was just like the finishing blow. Like that might as well, I just clotheslined them with my words, right?
Bro, you're having a Death Note-esque encounter with
Oh,
these
dude.
kids.
I fucking
God damn.
Kekakadori'd the fuck out of them.
Dude, that's so much more like passive than what I think I used to do as a kid.
Joey slam dunks 9-year-old
Yeah.
with Japanese and language.
Swish!
I remember we used to go like camping every year in France for like 3 weeks. Dude, I was, okay, you're going to think, wow, Connor, you're a violent, like fucking 11-year-old.
Okay.
I fucking spent all my time in the arcades. I remember this one time, this kid had been like taunting me.
Yeah.
Like, this French kid, I fucking hated him. He'd been taunting me for like days. And I'm playing Metal Slug, right? And you know how you put like 2 credits in? They can
Yeah.
press the credit button.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, because I'm playing, and I put another one in for me when I die. This asshole, this 11-year-old bitch, comes along, presses the just start credit button, and then walks away. And then I immediately just turn around and just fucking smack him in the face. I got in so much trouble. I had like an angry French dad shouting at me at like I'm like 11, right? And I'm like, his dad fucking shouting at me because this kid's crying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna finish my game, and then I'll deal with this. And my dad had such a fucking go at me.
You were that Xbox kid, weren't you?
I was definitely like
That pent-up rage
I was
kid.
like, I was such an angry kid. I have no idea why, but I'm glad though, because like now I just can't even get angry.
To be fair, I'd be pretty pissed off too if some
Yeah.
random
'Cause-
fucking kid came up to me and did that.
Yeah, when you're like 11, right? This is also, my parents didn't give me much money.
Yeah.
And I would always use it on the games, right? So to me, this kid had just taken like the only money I was getting
Yeah.
for like that whole trip. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh
Oh,
no.
no.
Oh
I-
no.
dude,
I'm
We all
losing
know,
it.
like, to an
I'm fucking
11-year-old,
losing.
like
I'm
three,
fucking losing.
like 2 or like 3 credits
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Metal Slug is like the equivalent to your mum's credit card. Right?
Yeah.
Dude, I
Like,
fucking love Metal Slug, man.
Yeah.
That kid took my credit.
No, like I can totally understand why you got angry. I just thought, man, there's
shouldn't have punched
there's
him.
a few steps between taking someone's credit and smacking someone in the
Yeah,
face.
he'd been giving me shit. This kid had been giving me shit because he was like a campsite. He'd been giving me shit for days, and I was just like, "I'm done, dude. I'm done. I'm fuming." I just straight up punched it. I got so much shit for that. And then like 2 days later, the same kid who I punched had a black eye. He came while I was on my other fucking game. Just pulls out the plug, and I fucking chased him, but he ran off.
Did you? Oh, I was hoping
I was
that you
gonna
would have
kill
given him another.
I was
one.
gonna fucking kill him, but he ran off. Motherfucker just pulled out the plug whilst I was mid Metal Slug. I'm so angry.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
I don't even remember. This is gonna be a weird question, but when was the first time you ever punched someone?
Bro, I got in so many fights. In
Was
school.
that the first time you ever punched someone?
Did you not fight with like? Oh wait, do you only have a sister?
I only had a sister. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I had 3 brothers. So it's
Dude,
like,
if I punched my sister, I would. My dad used to say this one threat. It's like a legit threat,
Right.
Where like if I did anything like bad in public,
Yeah,
he'd
yeah.
just like grab my ear and just whisper, being like, "I brought you into this world. I can easily take you out." My dad won't remember that, but I specific to an 8-year-old. That's like,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Father.
Parenting 101 there.
but me and my brothers. So we had 3 brothers, right?
Yeah.
So it was WrestleMania, like
Oh,
fucking
yeah, I
constantly.
bet.
Oh
Like
my
we
God.
must have fought. I must have been in fist fights like 3 days of the week. Like,
Right.
Was
but-
it actually fist fights or was it like?
Oh yeah, it
brotherly?
got to the point where we would like actually start like full on punching each other.
Jesus.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. We hated each other. I love them now. I love you guys. But back then, it was like fucking. Because oh god, there's so many fights. But yeah, my dad had this thing. We called it like. He's probably gonna kill me if I say this, but he had this thing called the murder stare. And like, you know when you started fucking up, and he would look at you, and you're like, he's like, bro, you're one step away from like losing everything. Yeah.
I will end you right now.
No, it was the look where he was like, don't do it. Don't do one more thing. I will end you. Love you, Dad, by the way.
Because I was an only child, so I had never had to grow up with any siblings, never had to share anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a fairly uneventful childhood because of that, I think.
In 2020, we call that privilege.
Dude, I got bullied so much in school, so I just started just fucking punching everyone back.
I
and-
guess, yeah, if you get bullied at school, you
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
have like a lot of pent-up
Yeah, I mean,
rage,
after I started
right?
punching back and actually getting in fights, people just left me alone because they knew if they would go for someone else who wouldn't fight back.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Should have just challenged them to a chess game.
I should have, man. That would have definitely worked against kids.
You should have challenged them to a chess game, and then the moment you win, you just punch them in the face. It's like double down on it. Double checkmate.
Oh my god, dude! Shit, dude. There were so many fucking times I got in fights as kids. Oh man, it was so bad. I don't know what stories I could tell if you want any. I mean,
I'm just trying to think, like, when was the...
did you ever punch anyone in school? Like full on punch someone?
Yeah, I have.
What reason?
Because this kid...
It's
in my,
always dumb as fuck in school.
Yeah, it's
but-
because this kid in my high school was giving me shit. Like, he was the bully
Yeah.
of our
Yeah.
year. But the thing is, he was that one bully that... You know how some bullies are kind of, like, popular with the kids
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
don't bully?
Yeah.
This kid, because he bullied everybody, like,
Everyone
every
hated
single
him?
person, everybody fucking hated this kid.
yeah.
And, of course, eventually, he made the rounds, and the next target was me for whatever reason. And obviously... Going to a high school where it's 99% white boys, and
Yeah.
I'm the only one with a non-white
Yeah, of
bloodline,
course.
right?
Of course,
Easy
of course.
target,
Going for blood.
right? Yeah,
Okay.
he's going for the low-hanging fruit, essentially.
yeah.
So he would, say all these like horribly racial slurs
Yeah,
at
yeah.
me and stuff, and just one day he was just really, and I didn't mind the racial slurs. It's when he got up to my face,
Oh, I hate it when people.
Oh,
you know,
I hate that
it's
so
like,
much.
There's a difference between a bully shouting across the playground
Yeah.
at you.
Yeah, I don't mind that stuff.
Yeah,
it was
which
the
is
other
fine,
stuff.
right? Because that shit's easy to
But
ignore.
respect my personal space.
Yeah,
man.
right. It's like the moment you cross into my personal space, that's when the hands come out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I never punched anyone in my life up until that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, there's only one way that this kid is going to stop. And he's like,
gotta teach
and I'm
this
like,
kid a lesson.
And in my head, I was like doing a Kaiji episode where I'm like, if I punch him, I'm either going to die. Or I'm gonna come out of this alive.
Joey's like death noting every action.
Yeah.
Like,
Man, this is like the total opposite of the way I used to think about it. I was like, just punch and figure it out.
Oh
later.
no! I was always the person who was like, okay, what's gonna happen if I go
Yeah,
down
yeah,
this
yeah.
route? It was like a visual novel, right? It's like punch or not punch, and it's like, I don't know. I don't want to get the bad. I don't want to get the bad end, right? So I was like, there's a very good possibility that if I punch, I'm going to just like bad end,
Get
just
the
game
shit,
over.
Get the kick.
And I was like, but this kid was just relentlessly just like shouting in
Yeah.
my face and just, like, and then the moment he started like pushing me around as well, that's when I think I just snapped.
Yeah,
And I just
yeah.
wailed back and just knocked this kid in the chin. Like I pulled a fucking Baki move on him, just fucking knocked him in the chin, and he fell down on the ground and he just kind of walked off. And then nobody in my year fucked with me.
That's good.
That year, and I was like, okay, all
This-
right, that was the good end. That was the good.
I-
end.
you got the good end.
I got the
You
good
made
end.
the
I
right
got the good
choice.
end.
This is why, like, when I'd never recommend like fighting back because it can normally like it can go like two ways, right?
Yeah.
You can either one, you can get your kick, like beat the fuck up, right?
Yeah.
Or everyone else will want to challenge you. Everyone will think, oh, you think you're hot shit, all right?
That's like the start of a fucking anime.
Yeah,
oh,
literally.
the nerd
God
fought
of high
back.
school? I don't think so. Oh my God. Dude, there was kids that used to like spit on each other in school, and man, that was the stuff that bothered me the most. Like, you
Yeah.
can call me shit, don't spit on me. What the fuck?
Yeah,
God,
that's
yeah,
all.
I hated high school.
Did you guys
Yeah.
have this? I don't know if this is only an Australian high school thing, but the last year of the 12th grade, like literally the day before graduation, I forgot what it was called. I think it was called like Year 12 Free Day, where basically the 12th graders, for the last day of high school, they can just run around the school and do whatever the fuck they want.
I think we had something similar in our school.
Yeah.
What?
You guys didn't have this?
I didn't have
Yeah.
this.
But like our school took that free day literally, where some fucking crazy shit would happen. Like we somehow it started off quite innocently, like
Yeah.
putting lube all over the stair rails and stuff
Why are
like that,
kids
so people
getting
would sleep
lube?
on it. And another one was going into one of the teachers' offices and filling his entire floor with cups full of water. so that he couldn't like go into his thing like that. And then it got too far when one of, I think it was like a group of boys, they got one of the teacher's cars. And I don't know how the fuck they did it. I think it was driving a Mini, so it was like relatively small car. And they
Right.
somehow put the car on top of one of the school buildings, like on the roof.
What?
And
I mean, that's too far, but that just sounds
That's
impressive.
impressive.
Yeah.
Honestly, the
And
engineering.
What are
involved.
the logistics
Yeah,
behind
what are
this?
the-
You know,
This kid's going
I
places.
wasn't there to witness it, but imagine just walking to school and you're walking, along the school like wall,
Yeah.
and you just look up and there's just a car sitting there. I'm just like, oh, how did that get
This
there?
must have been in like the news or some shit. No.
No. This is quite frequent.
that sounds like a scene from some
Frequent?
American.
What do you mean frequent?
This sounds like a scene from some American high school movie that you watch, and you're like, huh, "This is so fucking stupid. This will never happen in real life."
I don't know. I don't know if my high school still does it, but
That's newsworthy in the UK, I think.
Really?
That,
Yeah.
that would be. Yeah, of course. Fucking hell.
no, even the girls' schools would go crazy like that as well. Just
What the
doing
fuck? We didn't have any of
because
this.
it was it was the last day of high school, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like do whatever the fuck you want while you can, because after this day you have adult responsibilities. So it's like just it's it's the Miley Cyrus effect, right? It's like just get all that shit out of the way once the contract is ended and you're good to go, right?
No,
Yeah.
but like I said, he must have learned some good skills from being able to fucking get a Mini on a school roof.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Even
Well-
if
Oh no, it wasn't like a multi-story building. It was
Right.
like it was like a demountable, so it was just like just getting it up.
Yeah,
but still,
how?
still.
Did like 8 of them coordinate this lift? Like, how did nothing
don't
go
know.
wrong with it?
I wasn't there to witness it, but it was awesome just staring across the school grounds and just seeing a fucking Mini
My
on top
fucking
of a
God.
demountable. Yeah, that was crazy.
How do you convince kids to join? Yeah, so we're gonna go lift the teacher's Mini. You down?
It's like I need like 5 boys. Who's in? It's like, all right, let's fucking do it.
yeah, speaking of like high school, why is there so many high school anime? You know what I mean?
Wow, that transition gone.
I was just
Holy
like, man,
shit, he's on it.
Damn.
I'm fucking on it.
That flow. That flow.
What's the deal with high school anime?
What's the deal with high school anime?
No,
No, because that sounds crazier than any fucking high school anime I've ever heard of or fucking seen.
I don't know.
I
There's
don't
some
know.
crazy high school anime out there. I don't like.
It's either one or two ways. It's either like the most
Did you
vanilla.
guys have like school festivals in your high school, like
No,
how they
no.
have in Japan? I think that's only a Japanese high school thing, isn't it?
Bro, in Japan, they make school look so fun, and British school is the most depressing shit on earth.
Oh no! Like
you don't do anything.
You guys are here telling your high school stories. I don't remember it. I remember fuck all from my high school.
All I remember is bad things.
See, people always say that. I actually had I think I'm like the 1% that actually had a good time in high school.
I think I had a good. I liked my friend group a lot.
Yeah.
That I
Yeah.
had those 4 of us, and we were all really close. But
Yeah.
stuff that happened in school was just always awful. It was
Like what?
I don't know. I got in so many fights as a kid.
Oh, yeah, I
don't
mean,
know
I guess
why.
you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
bullied.
Yeah.
Like there was one time as well. This is one story I remember, and this like drove my blood like through the roof, dude.
Yeah.
So there's a day in the UK. I don't know if you do this in Australia, where like the kids who are coming into high school get like 2 days before in June before September starts.
Yeah.
Where they get to just come and see the school.
Yeah.
And my little brother was coming up, right?
Oh, like an orientation.
Yeah,
day, right?
yeah. So I was like showing my little brother around, and one of the guys, just the bullies, just comes up to me whilst I'm talking to my little brother, just slaps me in the face.
what?
Just slaps me in the face. And I'd already been in like multiple fights at this point. And
Right.
I'm like, I get slapped and I'm like, all right, it's go time. You slapped me.
hands are coming
I'm
out.
like, you slapped me first. I'm not going to get in shit now if I beat you. And then,
yeah.
I started fighting him, and then
In front of your little
This
brother?
is so fucking weird to me.
Yeah,
like,
just-
in what world is this just?
He literally
does
just
this
slaps
thing
me.
just happen?
Literally just slaps me, and then I'm like, wait there, because I was like thinking like I got to show my little brother I'm not a pussy, right?
Yeah.
He's my little brother. He looks up to me, right?
Yeah.
Like I got to show him that like I'm not a bitch, right? Because if he sees me get slapped, I'm like, oh sorry,
Yeah.
he's gonna think, wow, my big brother's kind of a wimp. What's up with that? Yeah,
This just sounds like a fucking In-Betweeners episode.
It
or
is,
something.
because then it turned into a fucking tournament arc where then all his friends the next day were like, oh, well, we want to turn now. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. There's one time, and this is probably the one where I felt most bad, is that this guy came up to me. He's like kind of chubby, and I thought,
Yeah.
what are you doing? What are you doing, man?
Right.
Like, what's up with this? He pushes me once, and I was like, all right, fine. I grab his head and just fucking knee him. And bear in mind, okay, I do not condone violence in any sense, but
I loved it.
I was such an angry 13-year-old because I was getting bullied since like
You were 13 when you did this?
yeah,
What the fuck?
You weren't even in
Like-
high school. You were like middle school.
maybe like no, not like 13, like 15, 14, maybe 15.
Yeah, still.
15, yeah. And this guy I never had a problem with this guy. I didn't realize why he was doing this to me, but I think I pissed off one of his friends, and then he, was trying to act big. I don't think he actually wanted to fight. He was just pushing me around, but I was like, fuck it. Anyway, so I did that, and he just dropped, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be in a lot of
committed a crime.
I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble. I didn't even think I did it that hard. I just thought I saw it in a movie once. It looked really fucking cool.
I saw Bruce Lee do it once. I can do it too.
I thought he
Who gets hurt by getting kneed in the face?
he was slightly smaller than me. So he pushed me, and then I think I was going to go for a push, and I just went like, douche. And then he just like dropped for like 5 seconds, and I was like, oh shit, are you okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm fine. And I think he was so embarrassed that he didn't tell anyone.
Right.
And then he came in the next day, 2 black eyes.
Wait, how did you get
How?
2 black eyes?
How wide is your knee?
Because I think it like hit him like that.
Okay. I was gonna say.
So he came in with 2 black eyes. Didn't tell anyone, but all my friends knew what happened, and no one said anything. And it was like that 1 week where I had like 3 fights. Right? No one did anything for me. The rest of my school life, it was great. Everyone was nice to me after.
You had more fights in that 1 week than I think I have in my entire life.
I think I
yeah.
had more fights in that 1 week than anyone
This
else.
is like Fight Club, because in my school it wasn't about like getting into fights. It was about who did you know. Like if you're cool with X
Yeah.
person, if you're cool with that person,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
don't fuck with you.
I don't know if it's because it's like a small town thing. Like my and like it was such a small town thing,
Yeah,
and where
yeah.
like the teachers often like forgave the shitty behavior because more often than not, all the teachers were friends with the kids' parents, right? So
Right,
it was
right.
kind of a thing of like, oh, don't do it again. Don't do it again.
Slap, you need someone in the face. Slap in the
Every
wrist.
single time it was like, don't do it again. Don't do it again. You know,
Oh,
and it was
there
like,
wasn't like a proper punishment. Right?
no,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, right? I don't really care now. I dealt with it myself.
Did you go to a boys' school?
No.
Oh, okay. So maybe that's the aspect of it, right? Because I feel that boys will be more willing to get into fights if it's a co-ed school because they're trying to like impress the girls.
I never wanted to. I just wanted to play my games and be left
Yeah,
to
But
it.
it just seems like fucking Fight Club.
Yeah,
or
honestly, honestly, man, it was fucking awful. I joke about it, but I remember hating it when I was in
I
school.
probably fucking hate it too if it was that ruthless.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember there was like one guy who would like he didn't want to fight me. He didn't want to fight me because I think he knew that he'd get hurt. So he would just, or like I said, he would spit on me. And anytime I try to like fight him, he'd just run away. So what can I do? Right? It's like that one asshole who like kites amazingly and leaves. It's like, come to me.
His taunt game's like on point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And then he
yeah.
just kites you, and
He was just kiting me. I'm like, fucking stop. And then he would run to an area with teachers, right? And I can't fucking like punch him in front of a teacher.
Oh, he'd make a fucking amazing ADC main, man.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, damn, he'd make a great. This is why I'm a jungler. Man. That's why I run in, man. I just me fight, don't think. But like, no, I wouldn't. Okay, if any 13-year-old, 14-year-old kids don't fight, it's not a good solution.
It's not worth
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I was just lucky that I was freakishly strong for a 12, 13-year-old as well. That helped a lot.
Yeah. I don't know, because for me, I've always gone through life being like, okay,
Passive.
physical like interaction is always like my last choice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have that now, but as a kid, I felt like it was my only.
you learned the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that I was angry as a kid because now I have like zero anger at all. Like,
Right.
I never get angry about shit now, and I'm so
Yeah.
glad that I just got that shit out. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how anger works. I don't know if this is science.
Not sure about that. It's not.
But I feel like because I've dealt with so much anger in my past, right? I've been able to like really like I don't know.
It's like you
fucking
filled.
channel
It's
it,
like you
right?
filled your anger quota of life
I
during
think
your
so.
teens.
I
It's
think
like,
so,
It's like
right?
I'm run dry now.
I genuinely think I have though. Like I don't know. I don't.
He just
I
got
never
out
get
of his system now.
I
Yeah.
get like mildly frustrated at things, like
Yeah.
any
Right.
good British person would, but I never get angry at things. You know?
Mildly frustrated is just the British.
British
That's just the default British emotion.
Yeah.
You know, anything can mildly frustrate you, and that's just the way we've just grown up, right?
Yeah, I'll be angry about shit now, but I'll be like angry. You know, like I play it up because I like just shouting. But,
Yeah.
but then Gaunt is like the chillest man on earth. Like Gaunt is impossible to get mad. I've never actually seen you mad.
Well, I mean, that's the whole monk thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to talk about
Oh
that?
shit.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
So
Have we talked
perfect
about that in the
segue.
podcast?
Oh, okay. I guess I got to tell the story now.
That was a smooth transition. You
I'm
see
probably
that,
going to go
boys?
to the toilet before.
All right.
He needs to zen up.
この番組は
Bookwalker.
のスポンサーの提供でお送りいたします Damn, that was
Am I watching an anime right now? Damn, son.
What are we talking about today, Jerry?
We're talking about two particular series that Bookwalker is releasing on their website. I don't know if you've heard of it, Connor. I'm sure, Garn, you've heard of it. But there is two series. There's one called Temple, which
Yep.
is about a temple. Surprise,
with a
surprise.
monk?
With a monk.
With a monk. With a monk. Perfect segue into the next part of the show. But also the other one is Nande Koko ni Sensei ga, which I don't know what the English title is. I know
Why
you're
the
more-
hell are you here, teacher?
That's it.
I've seen episode 1 of this show.
Yeah.
My goodness gracious, that is not Christian. But
Yeah.
I'm so glad I can read it on Bookwalker in the comfort of my home.
Yes, because on Bookwalker, the manga is completely uncensored. You get full nips and everything. If you've ever thought about getting with your teacher, because that's basically the show. Okay,
I'm sold.
that's basically the manga.
I need no more.
But you might need more because the other manga that they have is Tempuru, which is
Do tell.
illustrated by the same guy. No, sorry, yeah, illustrated by the same guy who did Grand Blue. You know Grand Blue?
I do know.
I do.
Yeah, so illustrated by the completely same guy, just different writer. But essentially, as the name suggests, it's about this kid who has these really dirty thoughts, but he wants to be a good Christian. So he basically goes to a temple to get rid of his horny on main Christian thoughts. But the problem is that he becomes a monk at a temple that is full of hot women.
That doesn't sound very monkly to me.
Did that happen to you? Mom, I want to be a monk, I swear.
Yeah,
This was the real reason I became the manga.
yeah. Hoping for that scenario,
That
right?
sounds pretty good. I'm
Yeah,
sold.
yeah, but like the thing is, because it's illustrated by the same guy who did Grand Blue, the type of comedy is exactly the same as Grand Blue. So if you love your
okay.
really vulgar visual comedy that
Oh, hell yeah.
really made Grand Blue funny, like Tempuru is exactly the same way. And the added bonus is that it's way more hot girls in Tempuru than Grand Blue. So
Guys, I'm getting some breaking news from Bookwalker here. Both Tempuru and Why the Hell Are You Here, Teacher are exclusive to Bookwalker until August 13th. You can read half of Volume 1 of both titles for free. Free, gentlemen. Free. Or buy them for 50% off. Can we keep that ad read? Yes! And lastly, Volume 2 of Why the Hell Are You Here, Teacher comes with a Bookwalker exclusive colored booklet.
damn,
And in brackets, they've said here, extra etchy, gentlemen.
extra etchy.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know if my penis can
it
handle
get,
that.
How can it get extra etchy? I saw that.
What's the extraness in the etchiness?
Bailey,
You've already
what
got
is it?
full
Bailey,
on
what
nips.
is it?
It's that the skin is colored this time. It's not
If
just
that's-
black and white.
If that sounds remotely interesting to you, you can check it out in the link below.
Thank you to Bookwalker sponsoring today's video.
If you want more sponsor reads like that, please actually go check out these books. They are actually amazing, and we love doing these silly ad reads. And if you like it, please go support them. Show them that these ad reads work. Thank you. Back to the video.
So yeah, it's a little known secret, or it's a little known fact that I've been a monk in my life, but I've not just been a monk once, right?
Just saying that is so cool.
To me, this is just part of Buddhist culture. So in Buddhist culture, normally when you want to give your family like good karma, everyone in my family has been a monk like twice in their life.
Oh, really?
Once when they're a teenager, and once when they're like an adult. So you become a monk like once when you're like a teenager. We call that being a nen, and then you become like a full monk when you become an adult, and that's when you kind of hit like your early 20s.
Okay.
So yeah, so normally a lot of people just do it for like 1 or 2 days because
Yeah.
we believe that it's good karma.
Yeah.
I remember when I was about 12 or 13, I was a monk for 2 weeks. And then afterwards, when I was about 22, 23, I was a monk for a full month.
Jeez.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you told me stories about how you were a monk for an entire month, but I never knew that you did it twice.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, it's just not part of like being a Buddhist and trying to get. I was that good little Asian kid. I was trying to give like my family good karma and everything. But
Yeah.
I honestly like rep the experience because it was. I'm not joking when it was literally the life-changing experience for me. Like
I bet.
there was me before being a monk, and then there's me after being a monk.
Right.
Because normally people just do it just to just to impress their family and just give their family good karma. But I told my mum, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna go all the way. Like there's some temples that you go to that don't take it as seriously. And then I went to a fucking hardcore temple where, we didn't have any technology.
Yeah.
We had to, so here was my daily schedule. Okay, so I would have to wake up at around 4 a.m.
That already sounds like torture. That already sounds like torture.
Have to be ready, have to be completely ready by 5.
Okay.
And we didn't have any beds. We had a concrete floor and one little pillow to sleep on.
Oh my God.
And we had like the thinnest blanket in the world, which wasn't so bad because it's Thailand. But sometimes when you're sleeping in the middle of the forest, because there would be times when we just go out to a temple in the middle of the forest, it can get fucking cold there. The temperature drops to about 2 or 3 degrees sometimes, and like you just have this like tiny little blanket on a concrete floor to keep you warm, right? So we'd have to wake up at 4, get ready by 5, and then we'd just be like meditating and praying for a good 2-3 hours every day. And then afterwards, we would basically go out barefoot, go to like whatever village or whatever area around the temple, and people would just donate the food to. We'd have these. We would carry like these little baskets on our necks, and people would come over and they would, donate food or whatever they want to donate, because we believe that if you give to a monk, that's good karma as well. So the food that we got donated, that's what we would eat. So we would walk around for a few hours and
for the entire day.
Yeah, for the
Did
entire
you
day.
get a lot, or was it like just like enough? Or
I mean, you get what you're given, right? You had no choice about what you could eat. You could eat basically what you were given.
did you ever get anything like super nasty?
No, I mean, it's.
I guess in the mindset you're not like picky. You're not like, oh, really, a Snickers, really?
No, because the whole point of being a monk is that you live. You don't care. Like you eat to survive.
I guess if you're caring about that, that's like
that's
the
defeating the point of being a monk. So you get what you're given, and you live the simplest life you can possibly live, and you basically eat to survive, and you get 1 meal a day. And you gotta be okay with whatever you get given. So we would eat at around 11 to 12 o'clock, and that would be our first and only meal a day. It was easier when you're a kid monk, because kid monks you get 2 meals a day.
Okay, yeah.
But when you're an adult, when you're an adult, when you're more grown up and burning through more calories, nope, you got to survive on 1 meal a day. And afterwards, there was no cheating. So after that, you couldn't have any milk or any like liquids that had calories. You could only have water or some kinds of fruit juices, and that was it. And yeah, it was very. I don't know really how to describe the experience, because imagine if you just take every distraction out of your life and you just live the simplest life possible. You don't eat to enjoy your food. You know, you don't really get the pleasures in life, but at the same time, you just kind of, you're okay with everything, because you have to be okay with everything. And I remember for the first week of being a monk, it's fucking hard. It is so fucking hard to reprogram your brain to not only be like, okay, how do I distract myself with my phone? How do I not check Twitter? How do I not watch YouTube videos? How do I just be okay with my own thoughts? And just, and it's so hard because your brain, nowadays your brain constantly looks for a distraction. It constantly needs something to distract itself. And the first week I was just, you're kind of like a drug addict, right?
Please, I see a tweet. Give me a tweet.
I'm sitting there trying to meditate, and my mind's just going at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I haven't watched TV in a week. I haven't seen a screen in a week. It's very, very difficult. But the more time you do it, the more you kind of you realize that, oh, these are all just distractions. You can be completely okay with just yourself and your own thoughts and just doing the simplest things and life activities. And then when I got to that point, I kind of just had time to just reflect on my entire life. Because
Yeah.
what else are you gonna fucking do when you have nothing to do but literally think back about every decision that you've made in your life and the way your mind works. You know when sometimes you're like lying in bed at 11 a.m. and your brain reminds you about
like
that
shitty things
about
that
that embarrassing thing you did when you were 12, or maybe
Yeah.
like that time when you punched a fucking kid in front.
I'm like, damn,
or
I
something.
got him good. I got him good.
So just imagine your entire day just being that, just being like, I wonder if I made the right choice at this point in my life. And then what happened to me was that I kind of just reflected on every little decision that kind of led me up to this point in my life. And what it forced me to do was really think, am I really happy about where I am now? Like what's my life going to be like out when this monkhood ends? And I was at a really bad point in my life before I became a monk, which is kind of why I've really wanted to commit to the fact of being like, if I was going to be a monk, I'm going to go all the way.
Get the full detox.
Yeah,
right?
get the full detox, because I've seen some temples, you walk in and they have like a 50-inch flat screen, and I'm like,
The monk channel only. We only have the monk channel.
This doesn't seem very monkly to me. I don't know about that.
We accept PayPal donations.
You turn the TV on, it's like a live stream of like a different temple and then like praying and shit. It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly
nice,
right.
nice content.
So it forced me to just reflect on my entire life, and it forced me to really think about what I wanted to do after my monkhood had ended. So it was truly I don't want to say it was a spiritual journey, and I really just discovered
I
myself.
mean, I think in this instance you can, because it genuinely sounds like it.
It kind of was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's.
That's like me when I go to the toilet without my phone. I'm like, I am free. All mankind.
because people have talked to me about how they have, how they've had similar experiences when they just shut off social media and everything like that.
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
You don't even know. You don't even know.
bruh, you don't even know.
Get on my level.
Yeah, get on my level, bro. Like you didn't have any board games, you didn't have any cards to just play around. All you just had was just yourself,
Yeah.
and I can't really convey how alien that is, because
Yeah.
it was alien for me as well.
There's a part of me that just envisioned, like, because as you said, the only thing you had was just yourself and your mind, right?
Yeah.
And all I could imagine was just Monk Khan just sitting there and just thinking up of funny jokes and laughing out loud.
I'm gonna roast these noobs when I get back.
Good roast.
Oh
guy.
no! That totally happened as well. That's when I was a monk. That's when I thought about there's a series I want to make called Anime in Minutes.
Are you serious? You
No,
thought
I'm totally serious. I'm totally serious.
my
that
God.
came to me when I remember the exact moment, because I was just walking around one of the Thai villages, and it just fucking came to me, because I remember not last week, but a few weeks ago, I talked about being zen on the fucking toilet and in the shower.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, I kind of, sometimes when I'm just walking and I'm just, just zoning out, sometimes I've reached this point when a lot of ideas just come to me. And it came to me when I was a monk as well, and I got a lot of video ideas and a lot of ideas when I was a monk, which
Eromanga Sensei.
Yeah.
which it was these ideas when I was a monk that have developed to me, like to my comeback on YouTube, where I figured out, okay, if I'm going to come back on YouTube, how I was going to come back on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been a very closely guarded secret, because you won't. There are some very old YouTube clips where I'm just wearing a beanie. And nobody knows why I'm just wearing a beanie. And it was because I had just finished my monkhood and I was just completely bald.
Yeah. What if they just like took it in a really dark direction? It's like, oh no, the cancer treatment.
Yeah.
How do you like sign up to be a monk? Is it like a Facebook group? You're like, I want to be a monk. Like how do you just rock up?
Maybe.
Yeah, do you just like rock up and be like, yo, let's do it? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you just turn up to whatever temple you want to become
just
a
accept
monk at,
anyone?
and they're like, okay, you go to the head monk and you request to be a monk,
Yeah.
and they ask, okay, before you become a monk, you need to make sure you have no outstanding debts.
Yeah.
You basically you've got to give up all material connections to the world before you can commit to becoming a monk, and you'll have like this interview.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
you're like, okay, if you're gonna become a monk, you gotta make
Do
sure
this, do
like
this,
yeah,
yeah.
do this, do this, do this. You know, if
You know what would be a really cool idea for this channel is
What?
if like us three somehow went to like a temple here and just like experienced it for like a single day. Wow, our producer's already on that shit. Hey, if you guys would like to see that
Monk episode when?
monk episode, like Gant can be like head monk of Trash Taste and just fucking like
We'd have to shave our heads. You do realize that, Jerry?
shit. I just
I
noticed
can do
that.
it all over again.
I can
baby.
commit to that.
Yeah.
I know
don't
you can't. You got
I
long
can't.
hair. I got short
I
hair.
can't commit to that.
like-
I'll just wear the beanie.
But like, I don't really talk about it. But now that I am, I do like highly recommend that kind of experience, or just doing that kind of experience, because you don't notice how distracting life is. Like just like you don't realize that as soon as you wake up, you got things to occupy your mind.
Yeah.
You got your job, or you got, you know,
Yeah.
the first thing you do is you check Twitter,
Twitter,
or you
yeah.
open Arknights, and you don't know how crazy your mind can be sometimes until you literally remove every distraction, every commitment that you need to do from your daily life, and you just have nothing, because it's
Yeah.
just a void, right? You're just giving your life a void, and because you give your life a void, it fucking changes you. I don't know. I don't know how else I can describe
I
it.
totally get that. Like back when I was still doing YouTube stuff, I went on this like camping trip
Yeah.
with a few of my friends, and we went to this area that had absolutely no reception
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Oh, Wales?
Yeah, we went all the way to Wales. No, we were just in the buttfuck middle of nowhere in Australia with
Yeah.
no reception, and we just went camping. And because there's no reception, I couldn't check anything. Right, like
Yeah.
I couldn't even like message people.
This is like a light version.
yeah. It's basically just like
Yeah.
a dieting,
Yeah,
diet
yeah.
version of it. But I kind of had like a similar experience to that, but only like for that one day. And I
Yeah.
remember the first couple of hours, I fucking hated it because I
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
a jittery. Yeah, I was getting those, like drug addicts. Like I need to know who liked my tweet. But after a while, like when it hit around midday, I eventually was like, you know what, this is actually really nice. Like
Yeah.
the world is beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's why I love going to the cinema. Like, no one can like be like, why didn't you answer your phone? Like,
Yeah.
in every other situation, like, oh, you should have answered still. In the cinema, for some reason, everyone's like, understandable, have a nice day. You ignored my text for 3 hours, understandable.
You're just
were
in
at
like
the
a
cinema.
void, right?
It's
Yeah.
great. Like, I love it. You just literally ignore the world for like 3 hours and just have fun.
Yeah.
I like
And
that.
that's why it frustrates me when the void gets pulled back to reality, when someone in the back is just fucking shouting.
Yeah, yeah.
And just being like, oh yeah, I forgot this is reality. I hate
Hell
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, because especially now, I think, I don't know, the internet, I feel like has reprogrammed my brain in
Oh,
a
definitely.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember, I don't know if I just have ADHD, because I didn't always felt like I was this easily distracted.
It's like subconsciously building patterns in your head, though. Like,
Yeah.
because you've trained your brain to check Twitter constantly.
Yeah.
And so you'll have that moment, and I'm sure you've all had it, where you're like, you open Twitter, you close Twitter, then you open Twitter again, and then you're like, why did I open Twitter again?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to open
It's like I
Twitter.
literally just refreshed my
Yeah.
feed 2 seconds ago.
I didn't want to do this. I just did it.
You check Twitter on your computer and you realize there's nothing
You
to
check
check.
it on your
And
phone.
then you close it and then you immediately check it on your phone.
And you're like, why am I doing this? I wasted 10 seconds.
It's the same concept as going to the fridge, seeing nothing there, closing it, sitting back on the couch, and then 5 minutes later going to the fridge again. You know? It's not like food's gonna magically appear in the fridge,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So I mean, it was an awesome experience for me. I don't, you know, if that's not something for it's not an experience for everyone.
The question is though, would you do it again?
I would do it again, possibly. Maybe not to this extreme, because I feel like I'm in a lot better place in my life.
I'm a lot more privileged now.
No, I mean like not just that, but like mentally.
Yeah,
I'm in a
of
lot better place in my life as well. So I don't feel I would need to go to that extreme again. But would I want an experience where I just kind of just remove myself from the world and just give myself?
Yeah, just like a short detox. You know?
Yeah. That's it. It's like a detox from the mind.
Yeah.
Is how I feel it, and I highly recommend people doing that. It sounds really cheesy, because people will always think of that, you know, some
Yeah.
crazy Californian
Gap year.
or like going on a gap year.
I took
Yeah.
a gap year to Thailand and became a mom.
Exactly that, right?
I was just like, shut up, dude. You probably
Yeah.
went to the club every night. Like, shut up.
Yeah. So that's why I don't really like to talk about it, because whenever you say, yeah, I've been a
It sounds
monk once,
pretentious,
It sounds
right?
pretentious.
Yeah.
People give you that look to be like, Why?
Because it makes it sound like it was like a vacation for you, whereas it was
Yeah.
probably someone's life, right?
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why it sounds.
Or
pretentious.
maybe it sounds like it because maybe some people think you just went through it just to brag about it, like later on.
Yeah,
down the
yeah,
road,
exactly.
Right? But the fact that you don't really talk about this. At all. Like,
I never talk about this.
I
until-
remember I dragged that conversation out of you when we were like really drunk in Singapore like 3 years ago. Where
I think I just drunkenly offhanded mentioned it.
yeah,
Mentioned
and
it
I
or
was,
something.
like, I was like, hold on, you're a monk?
So were you ever angry before you were a monk? Because I swear I've never seen you angry. What's up with that, Gon?
I mean, I've been angry before,
I
but
feel like you get mildly frustrated. You don't get even when you're angry. I'm like, dude, I don't know if you're angry. Or maybe I don't.
no,
see
like
it. Maybe I don't
being a
Yeah.
monk just taught me how to
deal with it.
think
process it.
about the whole process.
Yeah.
Basically, process everything, right? Because when you just kind of empty your mind, part of the commitment we try to make is that we try to learn how we process our way of thinking, and you gotta kind of okay. So the way I see it's kind of like a logic tree,
Right.
and
like, it teaches you to work through it.
this is what happened to me when I was a monk, where I'd feel certain emotions, and you'd have to like logically be like,
Why
okay,
am I feeling this?
Why am I
Yeah.
feeling this? How did this come? And then you kind of learn the roots of basically all your emotions and just anger, and then through that, I just on the fly learned how to deal with my anger, and just I would find another route to be like, okay, before I get angry, maybe I could try dealing it with another way, which is why I rarely get angry. And I always, some people get angry very easily. But for me, it's not that I don't get angry, it's that I just have different ways of dealing about it than shouting or fucking decking
I just love
someone.
shouting, man. I don't punch anyone anymore. That's old Connor. Old Connor's gone. New Connor, he just wears cosplays and shouts loudly.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah, yeah.
Great.
Like I love shouting. I
love
like when I
shout. I
shout.
love shouting.
I fucking love shouting.
I don't know why shouting is so fun. Like,
So wait, so do you like purposely shout to just get like that frustration out before it turns into legit anger, or?
sometimes if I'm like real angry some days, or I wake up and I'm upset, I'll just go in the mirror and I'll be like, "Come on!"
I only see that in like movies, right?
What,
Where
dude,
it's
I
just
do
like,
that shit.
I wouldn't
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if you're the kind of person who just like punches their pillow, to get all the frustration out. But
I just
I
like,
just imagine you in the fucking morning every morning.
All right, okay.
Like in the mirror, go. You got this, Connor. You got this.
okay.
You fucking got this.
Okay. Some days.
Actually, okay, no.
Some days you wake up, right? You're feeling like, man, I feel kind of shitty today, man. Like, I don't know why, man. I'm kind of worthless, right? I get in front of that mirror. I'm like, you got this. Okay, my neighbors probably hate me. Fuck it. I'm hyped. I'm ready for the day. That energy rushes through you. I feel like I feel like a 10 immediately.
it's so monkey, bro. I love it.
Oh my god, this
I
is
feel like a 10 straight away at the start of my day.
Question to you guys: how do you guys hype yourself up before a recording session for your videos? Because there's gonna be a time.
Okay. This is a thing that changed. I think this is because you've just recently started doing it a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember when I first started filming my face a lot, I fucking dreaded doing it.
Oh,
yeah,
And I did everything to avoid it. I would shave like 3 times, just to make sure it was perfect in my head. But really, what I was doing was delaying it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, maybe I need to go and get the groceries. Actually, I should do laundry. Actually, it's too late to record.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, I can't record because I was too busy renovating my house.
Yeah. But now I just fucking turn it on and do it. I don't already think about it.
Yeah, I don't really hype
I
myself.
just have
up
I
or
have a
anything.
coffee, maybe a Red Bull if I need it, but that's about it.
Yeah, caffeine helps definitely, but I don't really have like a do it phase, you know.
I do that in the morning. If you're feeling down, man, try it. Next time you feel sad, right?
Yeah.
And you wake up, because it happens sometimes, man. You just feel shitty. Just try it. You'll feel like an idiot at first, but then you'll be like, nice, dude.
Aki's gonna clown on me
Yeah,
the entire day, man.
I was about to say Sydney's gonna be
I
like,
guess because no one lives with me, so it's like,
yeah. You can do it by yourself, but if
She's like, Cindy's like, go on, what are you doing? Who are you saying? Come on, do it. Don't let your dreams.
come,
Come now. I realize I'm slowly forming a profile for me of just like a complete monkey on this podcast.
Yeah.
Now.
I think the only like hyping up I do, maybe, you know, sometimes if because I'm not going to even think about recording a video if I'm already not in that state, right?
Yeah, I've realized just don't film if you're not.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
mood.
So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
before, I used to have to be like, okay, I have to fucking record something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would turn the camera on, and immediately the moment you hear that record button, you're just like, fuck, man, I don't want to do it.
You're like, I hate my life
Yeah,
right now.
it's like not today, but I didn't have a choice because I was uploading, every 2 days or something.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
But with my current schedule now, I have a little bit more levity in that. So I definitely, I just know if I wake up in the morning and today's the day where I can just get something out.
Yeah.
Because if I feel good already from the morning, then I'm like, all right, it's time to get that bread, gamers. Like let's fucking record like three videos and just get that shit while the fucking hype train is running.
Yeah.
Sometimes playing hype music will get me in the zone.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
some
no,
nice funk. Damn,
Yeah,
those
no,
beats, they
dude,
hit you.
dude. Like power of music, man. Like that shit can easily hype.
What do you
me
look
up.
at?
But how do you know what music to pick, Connor? How do you know what music to pick?
I let YouTube decide for me.
Do
I
I,
don't
go
think
with
about it.
slow beat or fast beat?
Best song, happy.
Your YouTube search history for music is just like an AI trying to understand what emotions are.
This is
right?
how my music taste works and how I find songs. I like one song, and then I'll just keep letting YouTube suggest me songs, and I'll keep building. I never like actively look out for songs. I just let it suggest
This is
songs.
like YouTube and Spotify recommendations were built for people like you.
oh, dude,
Yeah.
they're amazing, man. They're
It's
so
really
good.
fucking good though, man.
I was diehard Spotify for like 6 years, maybe
Yeah.
longer. And then I just tried YouTube Music once because I had it with premium.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, I think I like this more.
Oh, dude, but I've discovered so much good music through Spotify. Recommended.
I think both.
on Spotify.
Yeah,
I think YouTube you find a lot because there's a lot of songs that aren't official that you'll get on YouTube Music that are
Yeah.
like remixes that
Yeah.
will never be on Spotify because they wouldn't be.
Oh,
on
I don't really give a shit about the remix.
There's so many good ones. There's like one where it's like the Soro Chino Sarame mixed with like that 90s song by like Diana Ross or something. That shit claps, man. I'll send you a link. Dude. It's so
There's
good.
always the good anime remixes,
Dude, there's
right?
so many good anime remixes on
yeah.
YouTube that you're not allowed on Spotify,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And like, because sometimes I want to listen to like Daft Punk, but I also want to have that anime remix in
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I can do that on YouTube. Hell yeah!
Dude, I've recently kind of gone into the rabbit hole of these insane like music remixes. And not just like anime. Obviously, the anime remixes, like everyone's seen the fucking Renai Circulation remix
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah,
Snoop
yeah.
Dogg or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But my
Amazing.
friend sent me one the other day, which was fucking insane. It was September by Earth, Wind and Fire. Remixed with Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne.
You can remix that song with anything though.
Yeah, but it sounded fucking amazing. I was like, oh my god, I need more. I need more.
I have never seen an Earth, Wind and Fire remix, September, that has disappointed
Yeah.
me, except for the Taylor Swift one. That was terrible. That's a cover. But
Earth, Wind, and Fire
goes
just
with
goes with everything.
The Wii Shop one. Have you seen that? The
Yeah.
Wii Shop, bro. That shit claps, bro. Okay, dude, I'll give copyright claims.
The YouTube system's like, damn, that was too perfect.
that was kind of on pitch there, Connie. You want to get off pitch there? I'm joking.
No, I've recently fallen into the rabbit hole of just listening to J-pop they sound like anime opening and endings, but they're not.
Like Polka Dot
Oh, yeah,
Stingray.
yeah, like Polka Dot
I fucking
Stingray,
love
Fucking
Polka
love
Dot
Polka
Stingray.
Dot Stingray. dude.
Zutamayo, Minami. It's
There's so many.
Yeah, it's like the rabbit hole, right? You discover one, and then the algorithm's like, oh, you like this? Oh, hello. Let me show you more. It's gone so deep, right? That recently I was recommended a video, which is kind of like a Vocaloid kind of remix, but I think it was the original song. But the video had no title,
Yeah.
and the
yeah,
channel,
you showed me this.
the channel had no title. And then I click on it.
What?
Yeah. So it's not even like they have a space or something. No, there's just literally no character for the title.
Can you even do that?
Yeah, apparently you can.
There's a thing called like a half space or something.
Yeah.
And it's a space that is technically a character.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show up as anything.
Oh, wow.
So but you can't like highlight it and copy and paste it into the search bar.
Yeah.
There's no interaction with whatever character they're putting down.
Right.
So the only way people would have got this is through recommendations.
Yeah.
And the video has like 2 million views. It's
That's a good
fucking
song as
insane.
well.
It's a fucking good song. And then I click on it, right?
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, welcome to the cult. I see you
Join
have,
us.
I see you have been the chosen one. And it's great because like they're probably gonna kill me now because it was like everyone's like mutually agreed not to talk about this. Which, sorry guys, I guess the entire
Let's
entire
link to
fucking the entire fucking internet knows now. But I'm not gonna link to it. If you're part of the chosen one, like show me a message. If I see anyone linking it, I'm gonna fucking ban you.
You played me this at your house, and I was just hoping one day it would pop up in my recommended. Still waiting, man.
Still wait. It's like the Illuminati, man. You just gotta wait
Yeah.
for that.
Gotta
invite,
listen to
right?
more crappy Vocaloid sounds, and maybe it'll pop up, dude.
No, but that's just the wonders of the algorithm. I mean, I have no idea how the algorithm works. There's okay, going completely off topic here, but there's been one video of mine recently. Oh yeah, that's just been fucking getting recommended to everyone. And I have no idea why. It's an 8-year-old video that we've not talked about in this podcast.
So many people have tweeted us about it. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's been a video recently that's been circulating that's called...
Recently, at the time of filming.
Yeah, recently at the
Yeah.
time of filming. It might still be circulating. Talking about it, it's probably going to start getting
That's definitely
circulated
gonna-
again.
You deemed it.
So I should probably circle back to the start of AniTube itself. You guys are about to get a history lesson here.
Go on.
So, okay, so... Do you guys know who the very first AniTuber is?
I thought it was Mr. Anime.
Yeah,
That
it's
was my
not.
preconception.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be surprised if anyone watching this knew, because that means you've been around for as long as me. But the very first anime YouTuber is this guy called Hard's Anime Reviews.
Okay.
And he started in 2006, and he would just basically make very very basic anime reviews with like his camera was like up here. And
The worst angle.
yeah, the kind of like the worst angle you can think of.
The angle we all start at, right?
And he's now quit. It's funny because I tried to search him up and see if he's still around, and his first original channel got terminated, as everyone's did back then when they were reviewing anime, and his second channel is called, unironically, The Hard Mode. He called it the hard mode.
Okay.
And okay, if you search this up on YouTube, you have to search the hard mode, no space. Otherwise, you're not going to find it because it's like that buried within the search the search algorithm. But the second AniTuber was this person called Mr. Anime, and he basically made his anime YouTube channel to compete with Hard, because Hard was the only anime YouTube channel around, and then Mr. Anime was the second one, and he really. At the time, he really was one of the big faces of anime YouTube. And I say big, he had like 1,000 subscribers. That's what I mean.
Big shit though back in the day.
Yeah.
That is big shit back in 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
And then it was after Mr. Anime that there were like some other anime channels here and there, but those two are basically the founding fathers of AniTube.
Okay.
We have them to thank for where we are now, basically.
If people know the ending to the story, then you know how funny that statement is.
I know, right? So then, after a while, I make my YouTube channel, and I do my own thing. And the very first shout out I got was from a Mr. Anime video. Okay. And it's still up.
Which video is it?
Huh? It's Mr. Anime. It's Mr.
Wait, is
An-
his channel still up?
Yeah, his channel is still
all
up.
his stuff's still up
You
there.
can view his entire history and everything that he did.
Wow, that's weird. Because who's that guy recently who got prosecuted for like child pornography, and they took down his channel like that?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that Austin guy, the singing guy. Picture on screen. Yeah, I don't know. They
No.
immediately took down his
Because
channel.
I remember a couple of months ago, a Mr. Anime video like popped up
Wow.
Yeah.
just
Okay.
randomly. Yeah.
for
Anyway,
interrupting you.
sorry.
Yeah. No. So Mr. Anime, the first time he shouted me out was just he made a video that I think it was called like the face of AniTube or Anime YouTube or something, and he just shouted out a bunch of OG anime reviews back in the
What
day.
a nice sounding
Yeah, what a
guy.
nice
Yeah,
dude.
so
Swell-sounding guy.
so that was the very first boost in subscribers I got. And I remember messaging him, being like, "Oh, thanks a lot, man. Like that really helped me out. That got me like 300 subscribers. Like, holy shit, that was a lot back in the
that
day.
was a lot,
Yeah, I think that was the video that pushed me over my first 1,000 subscribers.
Nice.
Which was a big fucking deal. So I was really happy, and I really respected the guy as well, because, you know, he was. If not for him, I'd probably be less confident to do what I did on start
right.
the
Yeah,
Give you a
anime
big,
YouTube
like,
channel.
validation.
Yeah, and especially, you know, no matter what, whenever you see someone bigger than you shouting you out, that's like a big pat on the back.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
I did well. So I was like, and he messaged me back, being like, "Nah, it's no problem, bro. Like, I just really like your stuff. You know, congrats." And he couldn't even pronounce my name back then. I think in the video he called me Geigic.
No, don't say that. Now they're all going to call you Geiger.
The subreddit's just like new
It's free real estate.
material. New material. Let's go.
I've dug my own grave.
Okay.
So that was the last kind of interaction I had with him. Until
That was your first and last interaction.
yeah, that
right?
was my first and last interaction. Back then, the anime YouTube community wasn't. We knew about each other, but we didn't talk to each other that much. This was before.
Still like the MSM days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So there wasn't an easy way to talk to each other apart from back when YouTube had messaging. You know, remember? Remember those days? Remember when people
DMs?
Yeah, YouTube DMs
God.
which were slowly just phased out of existence, I guess, and just nobody remembers that you could message, you could DM people on YouTube. But one day, I just woke up and I had this message from this other anime YouTuber who was called Aiko Arisaka 420, who's also like
Wow, you remember that? Like
yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Holy
So
shit.
I know the entire history of anime
Okay,
YouTube
okay,
right here,
okay,
man,
okay.
right here. And he was like he asked me if I heard about this article that's being like linked around, and it was this article that was this police report that basically just said Trey Sessler has been arrested for the murdering his family. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, is this Trey Sessler, the anime man, the same Trey Sessler?
The anime man.
Yeah, so not the anime.
I am Trey Sessler.
We got him out, folks. We got him out of prison.
God, oh my, fuck! I've just blanked on his actual name now. All that's coming to mind is the
Mr.
anime.
Anime?
Mr. Anime. Oh my god! I can't believe I blanked on the name mid-story.
Okay.
But
Why'd you have to
yeah,
out me like that?
Bro, man, come on.
but yeah. I clicked on the article and he had his face, and that was just a oh shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Is this real? Like how I had like 50 different emotions.
Yeah, I kinda know how you
just seeing
feel.
because you don't know how to react to this, because the more I read, just the more sickening it got.
Yeah.
So the entire story was that apparently Trey Sessler, Mr. Anime, had been playing around with his brother, and they were playing around with guns.
As they did a lot on that channel.
As they did. And see, he had a lot of guns in like his channel and everything. But, you know, me back
know what you're
then,
gonna say.
I just think Americans, guns, that's just what they do.
Actually, that's what British people think Americans
Yeah.
are. We literally think Americans just walk around being like, howdy neighbor with the Glock.
How do you know? So he would just have guns in his anime reviews, and I just thought that was completely normal. Which, you know, because he was from Texas as well. He was from Texas, so I was like,
Gunsling in Texas.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, this is completely normal. This is nothing to worry about. And
I bet there's a Texan watching this video with their gun, just like, yeah, it's totally normal.
even now, I see a Texan with a gun. I just think, you know, that's even normal, even after everything I've just about to
Yeah, yeah.
experience.
Yeah, of
but
course.
I read the story, and he was playing around with his guns with his brother, and apparently he accidentally shot his brother, and he killed him. And so he didn't. The official story that he gave was he didn't want his parents to feel guilt, or his family to feel guilt about, you know, having their son kill one of their brothers. So he just thought, might as well fucking kill them all, which is
It's a fucking awful conclusion.
which is
to come to.
fucking awful, which is a fucking awful conclusion to come to. So apparently he kills his entire family, and then it gets worse, because the more information that comes out, the more we find out that he was actually not only planning to kill his family anyway, but he was actually planning a Columbine-style school shooting.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I saw like this really good documentary on YouTube. I'm sure it's up there
It's
still.
the Rainbot, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's basically covers the whole thing, but that's how I got all my information as well. Where
Yeah.
he was planning to do a school shooting, and did he post about it online that he was going to do it or something like that? But
don't
he
know.
basically was on the way to the school, and that's when he got arrested.
Yeah. No, because he was planning the school shooting for way before he's killed his family. Because I think how he thought was he killed his brother by accident, but he was always planning the school shooting anyway.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
he had it all
it's
mapped out and
fucked
everything. So in between that, he accidentally killed his brother and killed his family, and that's what outed him. But he was always planning this. And there's this really ominous video. I think it's the second to last Mr. Anime video that's on his channel. That's just called "Mr. Anime is planning something."
Oh,
And
yeah.
I remember watching that, thinking, he's taking a break from AniTube.
He's planning a new review.
He's planning a comeback. But I don't know. It's because he talks about anime in that video, so he might have been just purely talking about anime. But I'm like, with all the information that we have now, he's probably
Now that
planning.
title was fucking scary.
It's fucked. That title was fucked.
Yeah.
And the more information that came out, the more I just didn't know how to process this. Because how do you process the fact that one of the people you looked up to and respected just fucking killed their family and was planning to shoot up a fucking school? Like, what'd you do with that?
Yeah.
And that bothered me for a while.
Yeah.
And I remember this was the time I was at university, and people were like, why does Garnt look like someone just died in his family or something?
Yeah.
But I think the best way I can describe it is, imagine if you like live in a small town and you may be like, everyone in that small town. You might not be friends with everyone in that small town, but you feel like this small tight-knit community. And then you find that someone in this small tight-knit community has done something awful.
Yeah.
It's like something that's not like beyond words, beyond words awful. And then to try to process this, I made the video, which is being recommended now.
Now it's circulating everywhere.
Even though it's 8 years old, it's for some reason YouTube decided, people want to see Garnt reacting to Mr. Anime murdering his family. I don't know how that came about.
It's literally on everyone's recommended. It was on my recommended. I think Connor said it was on his
Yeah,
recommended.
yeah.
Like, and it's like, yeah. I don't know why. Like, it's probably not monetized, right?
No, it's not monetized.
Right? So it's just like, it just goes against everything about the YouTube algorithms. Like, it's not monetized. It's about a horrible tragedy. It's about a very sensitive topic.
I mean,
it's 8 years old.
I think I uploaded this before even like the monetization thing like started on YouTube, or at least before I was monetized, because I had like 1,000+ subscribers back then, so it wasn't massive.
I remember as well that I remember stumbling upon a Mr. Anime video, even like way before I knew about the whole like anime YouTubing sphere and everything, because it was Mr. Anime's review on Gantz that made me want to go watch Gantz. And
Wow, this guy's got a bright career.
and I was like, wow, this guy's like really fun. He fucking had, do you know how ghetto his setup was? He had like a webcam or something to record, and he was sitting on his bed, and he had his it was like a notepad.
It was like an Apple notepad.
Yeah, it was like an Apple notepad of the script, and he was literally just looking down at the Apple notepad, just reading off the script, and then every now and then, I guess because he didn't know how to edit his videos, so instead he had a remote that controlled the zoom of the lens.
I remember that he controlled the zoom of the lens, and he just started talking to the camera, and then he just zoomed back out.
It was no cuts. So he was like,
Yeah.
I remember in the Gantz review, he was talking about the acid scene, right? In the Gantz anime, and how he was like, it made me go, and then he stops and zooms in and zooms really far into his face, and he goes, fuck. And then he zooms out with a dead face and then just goes back to reading it.
Yeah.
And that was the review. No cuts, no edits. And I was like, yeah, I want to watch this anime.
I mean, that was quality content back in the day of
Yeah.
AniTube. I remember when I started coming out with my videos, I was one of the first to actually just use an editing software, even though it was just putting images over whatever I was saying. I was like, people were like, what? He's using Windows Movie Maker? Impossible.
How can he afford
this? Wow.
But that's the story of the first person I ever interacted.
Man, humble beginnings.
Yeah.
That's so fucked. Yeah, but I recommend, like, as fucked of a topic that is, like, I definitely recommend that documentary on YouTube that somebody made.
Oh, it's great,
because
yeah,
it
Rainbow, I think
perfectly goes through everything about it. And at the end of the documentary, I don't know how they got this footage, but there's this
Oh, the police footage?
the police footage
Yeah.
of how he's in like the jail cell and he's like
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
the interview. That shit is so scary, man.
Yeah.
Like, and to think this is the guy who founded basically what I do for a living.
I know, right?
Right? Like that's so fucking scary.
It's so weird because I've had this conversation with a few people, and we just think, man, there's a lot of shit that's happened in AniTube.
Yeah, right?
That's
I think there's stuff that unfortunately, happens in every community.
Yeah.
That we probably will never find out. Some really fucked up shit that people have done.
Oh, yeah.
It
Yeah.
happens.
I mean,
right? Like-
we've only recently found out about a lot of it, right?
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I mean, you it's really unfortunate because we don't like to think that we know people who are like that, but I've at times proven anything. It's that, I've met people and been friendly with people who have done really fucking horrible stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I mean, I never
unfortunately.
knew that, one of my best friends used to punch kids in the face, right? Like,
Hey, that's not bad. Those kids, they punched me first. You piece of shit.
I mean, once you look up and respect a fucking serial killer school shooter, then it's all downhill from there, right?
yeah, exactly.
I know how it feels to see a police report and be like, oh no, oh
Yeah,
fuck.
it's just a mess of emotions. It's surely this is fake.
Yeah,
Like,
because you see it and you're like, I've never seen a police report. First of all, What
Yeah.
does this look like?
Yeah. This could easily be
Yeah.
doctored. Like, yeah.
And then just seeing like all the counts being slowly added, and you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
oh no, oh no, this is bad.
Yeah.
and I think that was the first time because I had a conversation with Aiko Arisaka, the anime review, about how we should process this. And I remember him saying, I think he'll keep the memories of Mr. Anime like the same, but it's just he has to view Mr. Anime and Trace Essler as like different people. And I think that was the first time I had just thought about the entire process of having to view online personalities as different in person
it's
as
the whole
how
thing,
they portray themselves.
It's the whole thing of like separating the artist from the creation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right. It was more the fact that this happened in our small community as well, because
Right,
there was,
it's like happening in like the small back
Yeah.
rural town, right, where nothing
Yeah.
happens.
because I'm sure now in AniTube, I'm sure there's some asshole somewhere.
Oh, there's probably
out there
someone doing
that
some
we don't
despicable shit.
that we don't know about, but they weren't a figurehead in this very small
Right,
community.
right,
Yeah, they weren't the fucking founding father, right?
The literal
Jesus.
founding
The
father.
literal founding
the
father.
more you say that out loud, the more I'm like, oh,
The founding
man.
fathers tend to normally be sketchy characters.
How do we sell that the anime YouTube community is like this really cool thing? Oh, the founding father's a serial killer. That's a conversation starter, isn't it?
I like to think of it it's one of those things that was going to be started anyway, eventually around that time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It just so happened that he was the first, or
Yeah.
like one of the first.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's the reason why nobody used anime in their username until I
could
came
be,
up,
could be.
because
Yeah.
because I know for a fact that some of my early videos, man, those comments were just like, the anime man, I thought that guy went to jail. Like they legitimately mistook me for Mr. Anime.
Who would mistake you for that?
Yeah,
Better run.
rewind that.
Flashback to 5 minutes ago.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, but like, I obviously didn't know about that news until after I started my YouTube channel, because I think, what year was it that he got arrested?
I mean, it was 8 years ago. I think that's that. The only reason I remember this is because the YouTube video that's been recommended is 8 years ago.
So what's that, 2012, right? Probably.
Yeah, something like 2011,
Yeah,
2012.
it was probably just a really bad time there because I started 2013, right? So it's literally right after it happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about it until I started it and I had like a decent following, and I was like, oh fuck, I can't go back now. Like I can't change my name now. I should have changed
So
my
what
name.
was like the early years of anime YouTube like then? Like and like so that was over like what? Well, how long have you been doing YouTube for? 12 years, did you say?
Since 2007.
Okay, so how was the
13.
so how was the AniTube sphere from 2007 to 2012?
It's like slow, right? I imagine?
It was very slow. So before 2012, which is kind of like where I think you came along, the quality was not good.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
As it is, but it was fun. I don't know. I kind of, in a way, I'm going to sound so boomer saying this, but I kind of miss old YouTube where kind of anything went.
You always look back fondly at the time when it was smaller and more manageable because it was more intimate.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you
Yeah, yeah.
always look back at that period, especially on YouTube, right? As well, I'm sure you all missed the time when you made like 1,000. You could just talk to random people. And
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
You're like, wow, you're
Exactly.
so cool.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember I made a video when I hit 1,000 subscribers and I thought I'd made it. I thought,
Mom, I'm dropping out.
Dude, I swear, like, I've always said this to people, but the joy of hitting 1,000 subscribers is almost comparable to hitting like 100,000 or 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Because 1,000 is just like, whoa,
No,
because
1,000 is like monumental.
it
You
is
know?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's a number that is very easily like quantifiable,
Yeah.
but it's also huge because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
thinking like, wow, there's 1,000 people who like me.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
once it gets to like 1 million, it starts to become something that you just can't really comprehend,
Yeah.
like physically. Whereas 1,000 is like, holy shit, I'm popular. I'm
Yeah.
fucking popular.
And back then, it was, you know, as it grew into, it was all about doing anime reviews, and a lot of people had different styles. If you came in with an editing software, you were just
You were the goat.
You were the fucking
Look at this
goat.
guy. Get a load of this guy.
I remember when like Yezu Otaku and Tristan Glass Reflection came along, and they used Sony Vegas to edit their videos, and it
Shit.
fucking blew my mind.
They used a paid product. Damn.
Yeah, just some of the stuff they could get away with that I couldn't, using like putting images on Windows Movie Maker. What the fuck? It was
You're
amazing.
basically a glorified PowerPoint.
yeah. But I think my favorite anime reviewer from back then was this guy called Grumpy G-san.
I fucking love him, bro.
I do not know this person.
So good.
Yeah. He's an OG and he doesn't make videos anymore. But what he'd do is that he'd do anime reviews, but he'd do it in like the middle of a desert in Arizona somewhere, right?
He would review an anime while like hiking through the desert.
Yeah. So he was like he was basically pre Casey Neistat.
This sounds great.
Because what he'd always start off his videos with with him walking towards the camera in like the middle of the desert.
Like Casey Neistat.
No. So what he would have to do is that he would have to set up his camera, hike away off screen, and then fucking hike back into view of the camera. And it wasn't like he was hiking a short distance. He would be literally like hiking over hills and mountains sometimes to get to the camera. And yeah,
How long was this intro? Like just 2 minutes?
because
Uncut.
it was just like super sped up, and you just see him walking towards the camera. So it'd be like a squirrel just like scurrying like towards the camera, and he's like, "Today we're going to talk about Berserk."
Dude, this sounds amazing.
And I love as well how a lot of his reviews, he always had like a place to go, right? So he would start with at the front of the trail, being like,
Yeah.
today we're going to talk about, you know, Hunter x Hunter. And then as he's walking, he would talk about the show. And then usually, the one I saw, I forgot which anime it was, but he was hiking up this mountain.
Yeah.
And I don't. He must have like perfectly timed this shit. Like he must have done the hike beforehand, because the moment he got to the top was when he finished his conclusion on the show.
Yeah,
And he was just like, "I've made it to the top, guys, and that's the end of my review."
yeah.
I'm like, "That's fucking
sounds like
awesome."
great.
Yeah, it's
Like
fucking
thinking back, it was very different from what everyone was doing. And we were just like, old man reviewing anime. That's pretty weird. But thinking back, a lot of his ideas were really cool.
Yeah, it was.
you know?
That's kind of ahead of his time.
He was
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
ahead of his time. Yeah.
And that's why he stands out to me, apart from
Yeah.
the guy who fucking killed himself, I guess. No, not killed himself. Killed someone else. But yeah, it was kind of like the Wild West back then. I mean, all of YouTube.
I mean,
was,
wasn't the internet
so
the Wild West back then?
Yeah.
So if that's the first era, right, where you're like, you know, 2007 to 2012, what
Yeah.
came after that? What's like the era? What years are we talking between? Because I'm
Okay.
interested, because I didn't start till 2015. So all of it before that is like,
Yeah, I'd say around about, I can't remember exactly when it was founded, but that was kind of like the Wild West of YouTube, where everyone was kind of doing their
a
own
mess,
things.
yeah,
It was a mess of different things, and then 2012 was kind of like where the AniTube community really started to form into this one conglomerate. And I think the big event that happened was probably Potaku.
Potaku was huge.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
first time I recognized anyone outside of you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there's other people?
Yeah, and I remember because I was already so we had 4 original members. There was Holden Reviews, Gene, who was originally called X Disturb Jeans, and Tristan, the Glass Reflection. And I remember what started it was Tristan one day messaged me out the blue with the YouTube DMs, being like, "Hey, do you want to talk about this new anime season?" And this was before. I'd even started watching seasonal anime. This was this was before the concept of, hey, you can watch anime weekly and be hyped for seasonal anime, you know?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you made a joke in one of your videos where it's like, why would I want to come over the space of 12 weeks when I can just come in one big go? That was a joke you made, and I remembered that. For some reason,
I completely forgot about that joke.
That's an amazing joke.
For some reason, that stuck with me, and I was like, that's a great example. I would like to come in one go.
I'm thinking because I'm thinking back to my thought process, and my thought process is, why would I want a 12th of an orgasm when I could just have one orgasm in one session?
Yeah, right.
Such a good joke. I love that.
Yeah, and so we made this podcast, which wasn't even a podcast. It was kind of just a recorded Skype call, and we didn't know where to put it. So I made the suggestion to put it on YouTube, because this was before, like, it was an audio podcast. It wasn't a visual podcast like this. So nobody thought that putting audio podcasts on YouTube would work. And I was just like, well, we're YouTubers, so why not why not put it on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. I don't like saying it like this because it kind of sounds like it's like sucking my own dick or whatever, but I'd say like Potaku was a big factor in, you know, shaping the anime YouTube community
I think so.
of that time.
No, absolutely.
Because I think it left as somebody who, you know, wasn't even interested in being an anime YouTuber. It definitely shaped, I think, how I felt about it. Because at the time I was listening to Potaku, like every week, like I never wanted to be a YouTuber. It never even crossed my mind. But definitely when I got into it, I think a lot of the influences came from listening to that. So I think you may not have shaped the generation you were in, but you definitely helped shape the one that came after.
I mean, there's definitely, you know, a reason why, even to this day, people who were around in the anime YouTube
we get comments
sphere
about it on
back
this,
then,
right?
Yeah, people back then still are like, yeah, remember Podtaku? Like even people who didn't watch Podtaku knew Podtaku.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a big point in my life. Podtaku really was it. I think back to Podtaku very fondly, even though it's like ended now and I've moved on in my life. It had a big part of shaping me as a person, and it's especially because Podtaku was the first ever friends I made that I could talk to anime with. You know what I mean? That goes all the way back to the conversation we had at the start. But Holden and Gene were literally the first people I was able to bond over anime with. And Podtaku was kind of like my weekly, bi-weekly kind of session where I could just nerd over anime.
Just banter with your buddies, yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And apparently a lot of people looked up to us back then because a lot of people apparently didn't also have friends to talk to anime with,
that's
right?
why I listen to it.
And so that really, I feel like that cemented the next era of anime YouTube before I think you came along. And I think that was kind of the era of YouTube where it was the last era where people could just make content without a monetary incentive in mind.
Right.
Because we did Podtaku not because we weren't getting paid for it at all.
Yeah.
For a lot of it, we basically made it because we just wanted to.
Passion project.
Yeah, it was a passion project. It was kind of like this, but back then this was before we had any kind of monetization.
Yeah.
We were just four mates who would just go on a Skype call and record the audio and just splice it together and upload it on YouTube.
And then I came in when the fat checks started rolling. I'm just kidding. No, but like, I don't think it's too much to say that, you know, this podcast included, there's a lot of anime podcasts now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Big and small. And I don't think it'd be too far to say that, you know, Podtaku is probably the one who probably got the train rolling in that side of attitude.
It kind of amazes me because like before this came along, before Trash Taste came along, you look back to some of the views and, you know, popularity of Podtaku, and it still basically holds up almost to a lot of the bigger podcasts that came after it. I mean, there's only a few podcasts that I can think of that came after Podtaku that
Anime related.
Yeah, anime related that were able to, you know, do better with it in terms of views and stuff. And Podtaku's like 6 years old now, so that kind of blows my mind. Do you want to hear a blast from the past?
Sure.
Warning, the following audio may contain coarse language and other material that may not be suitable for a younger audience. Viewer discretion is advised.
That is screaming. Dude, there's like maybe a couple of hundred people watching this right now who just creamed their pants from the nostalgia.
that intro is like ingrained in my mind, man.
That your accent warning is like, it's so 2012. I fucking love it.
Also, we may spoil anything and everything. So you have been warned.
If you go to my channel, the very, very first video is like a podcast that looks very reminiscent of the editing style of another podcast.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
It looks very, very similar with the cubes flashing up between.
Oh, yeah,
some
yeah.
talks.
Oh, yeah.
Because who did you edit all of them?
No. So originally it was basically between me and Tristan and Holden who had to edit most of the podcast.
Okay.
And so we basically edited the audio so they would sync up, and we would remove a lot of when you have calls on Skype,
People talking over each other.
Yeah, people talking over each other, and you have this really awkward pause where it's
You cut it all up smoother.
yeah, exactly. And then we were like, we wanted to make it a bit more visual. So, but we couldn't just film ourselves next to each other. So we kind of just decided to go with flashing boxes.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, and that was our way of just evolving the podcast. And I remember after Podtaku, we kind of added a few more people as well.
Right, I wanted to ask about that because as a viewer, I was so confused. There was just people towards the end would just start joining in, and I'm like, and then I was like J-Taku, and I'm like, what is going on with all of this?
Was Jimmy on the podcast?
Yeah,
as well?
Jimmy was on the podcast.
Right. People
No,
were
I know.
just, it was so odd because it just seemed like people were just cycling in, and I was like, wait, this is not what I want. I wanted the boys.
I want the big four.
I want the big four back. Like as a viewer, I was so confused. I don't think you guys ever explain any of that, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd be interested in knowing.
Well, for me, it was because the scheduling just got super hard. Because, like I said, we weren't getting paid for anything, so this was just us
Making time,
making time, and we got to a point with Podtaku where we were having a fucking hard time keeping up with this 2-week schedule. So I wanted to, and it had been a while since Podtaku had started, so I wanted to spice things up, and I wanted to see if there was we could get some chemistry with other people. And that's when I brought on the idea of J-Taku and adding more people and making it a distinct brand of Podtaku's where we just talk about pure whatever we want to talk about. It's kind of like a free-flowing podcast. And J-Taku is we're going to pick a specific topic and we're going to stay on topic.
Right.
And that was the kind of idea of J-Taku. It kind of hit everything because it added some new elements to the podcast, and it also made it so less of a load was on the original 4 as well. But yeah, it's interesting to hear what you guys thought about it as a viewer perspective.
I think because I didn't watch every single one, and then I think I just saw like 3 J-Takus, and I was so confused. And then I watch it, and I'm like, who are half of these people? Yeah, like you know, it's so strange.
And I think what it really worked at first because J-Taku did his job, and then it got to the point when J-Taku kind of even maybe became the flagship series. Because if you look on the Podtaku channel, a lot of the most viewed videos ended up being J-Taku.
Oh, really?
J-Taku videos. Like our most viewed video was one where we literally just talk about hentai.
Nice.
Of course.
And but that was back when talking
No one
about
spoke about it, yeah.
hentais are like very hush hush. Nobody publicly liked hentai on Twitter or any shit like that. It was
Joey, allow me to introduce myself.
Hi.
But so J-Taku kind of became one of the flagship series because it just got more views, and the original 4 people, it just became harder and harder for us to schedule the original Podtaku podcast. And I think that's kind of what helped bring Podtaku to an end. Because I feel like that era of AniTube is defined by the start of Podtaku and the end of Podtaku. Because I think the end of Podtaku really, it coincidentally coincided with a lot of the times when, Joey really rose and people realized they could do anime content for money as well.
Yeah.
Which just wasn't an idea before then. And I remember, should I talk about the end of Kotaku?
Go ahead.
I mean, if you want, man, like if
we
you
can
want.
edit. We can edit. It's fine.
Are we about to do this now?
It's up to you,
Am I really gonna bring this up?
It's up to you, bro.
Okay, so I guess I've never talked about this, but we've obviously gotten a lot of comments about Kotaku on this podcast.
I like how you just
on
like
this-
caps. Comments.
on this podcast,
Yeah.
and I don't think anyone's really publicly talked about it. And to preface this, still love everyone on the podcast. I'm not about to talk mad shit or anything like that. The long and the short of it is that we came into some creative differences about which way the podcast could go. Because to me, Kotaku was the defining podcast of the AniTube community, as I have just said, and I really wanted to push that further. I wanted Kotaku to like evolve more.
Yeah.
Because I saw the potential in how big the podcast could be. Because the problem was that we had trouble keeping up with our schedule, and then we took like a 7-month break or something like that.
It was very long. I think
It was a very
Wasn't
long
that
break.
long?
Yeah. And the reason for that was basically the podcast didn't really have a designated leader
right.
leading and everything.
Right.
So at the beginning of the podcast, it was mainly me and Tristan who were getting things getting things done.
Chasing up
Yeah,
people and stuff.
yeah. I mean, Jean, love Jean. She was like the mother of the group, but she would like come in and out because she was very busy with her real life. Holden, fucking talented guy, but it was, you know, I know I've told this to Holden before. You know, it's unless you tell Holden to do something, he'll fucking do it.
If you don't, he won't do it.
If you don't, he wasn't the type of person that would like push people to do it, you know?
Right.
And, you know, I think he's changed now for the better. And I think Kotaku was definitely a big learning experience for him as well. So I think he's definitely grown as a person. But back then it was mainly me and Tristan who was pushing stuff to get done on the podcast. And Tristan started to get less and less involved because he started to transition doing anime reviews as a hobby to actually finally getting paid for it, because he had opened his Patreon. He was the only one that was actively doing videos compared
And that was
to
at
all
the
of
time
us.
when Tristan was like really at his peak as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
He was
exactly.
really growing at that time.
Exactly.
I remember his Patreon was a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was the only one who had other commitments for his own YouTube channel. So he just had less time than all of us. And then for me, that was also the time when I got my job at the BBC.
Right.
So you see all these factors coming into play where the driving force of the podcast just had less time to really make episodes. And people in JTAKU, we were all good friends, but they weren't the original four. They weren't the OG four. They didn't really have the, I'd say, authority to really take over.
You can't
yeah.
really step in and be like, this is mine.
Yeah, exactly. So we basically took a 7-month hiatus, or it's a hiatus, but it was more of nothing was getting done. No,
No one said anything in the group chat.
Nothing was really happening.
They left you unread.
And it was basically because we just didn't have the time. And what was the driving force for it to be revamped was that was the point when I wanted to return to YouTube. I was getting bored of my job, and I was like, okay, first step, I want to put all my hard work into Kotaku and really revamping this, because Tristan's doing really well with whatever he's doing with his Patreon, and I saw potential for not only me coming back, but also pushing Kotaku into something even bigger and better than what it was. With help from, trying to monetize it and just basically making it
have an incentive for everyone to turn up every week.
Exactly. And so it ended up being, I was the big driving force to getting Kotaku back on its feet. And that's why I got super, super invested in it, because I was the one who was trying to get episodes done. I was editing a lot of them. Not because I wanted to be paid or anything, but I just wanted this to get back.
You wanted your passion to be
I wanted my passion to be back on the ground.
Yeah.
And as soon as I felt it was kind of getting back off the ground, I remember Tristan coming to me, and he was like, I want it to end. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And looking back now, I totally understand why he did, right? Because this is where I put it back to creative differences, because he saw that we weren't getting as many views as we used to before the hiatus,
Right.
and also the dynamic of the group was very different than when we started. Some people weren't getting along as well as they were at the beginning. So he wanted Potaku to just end there. He wanted to be like, okay, instead of just fizzling out, I wanted to end here. And I really tried to convince him to be like, look, I know we're going through some very big issues now, but I see potential in this. There was a lot of factors that I saw that could potentially have driven a lot of hype back into Potaku. Before we ended it, we had Jean had just left.
Right.
But she was going to come back. We had scheduled that. We had also scheduled Mentaku 2, which was the hentai episode, which was like our most popular one.
Right.
So I was like, look,
we could do it. We could do the comeback.
we can do it. Please, I really tried to convince him that it was too early to end. Because I totally agree with all the problems that the podcast had. If in order to survive and to go further, we would have had to make a lot of big changes, and they could have very easily blown up in our face.
I guess it's one of those things where it's like, you could try, but you could very easily fail. So it's one of those things where you're like, do I want to put in this work when I can get the guaranteed paycheck?
Yeah, why risk it, right?
Like, I kind of get it, but at the same time, I'm like, as a viewer, I knew how like big it could have been as well. Looking at my position now, and I understand how it all works. Like, it could have been. I reckon it could have been something really big.
Definitely.
It would have needed a lot of work, and we would have taken a big risk, and we could have failed massively. But for me as a person, I would rather give that a go.
Right. Wonder.
Than wonder. And it got to the point when it was just this one clash, right? Of just I thought it was too early to end it, and Tristan wanted to end it. And it was unfortunate that I say unfortunate. I didn't get my way. Okay?
He didn't listen to me.
I tried so hard.
There was a video that you guys all made when it ended, right? And I remember watching this, and it was like one of those moments you're like, please say psych.
Yeah.
please say psych.
JK lol.
But I remember watching that video, and it like, because I remember the order was like you first, and then it was like Tristan was last.
Yeah.
And Tristan, I love Tristan, by the way, just saying. Like, but I remember watching it, and I was thinking like, man, it kind of seems like everyone was like really wanting to keep doing this, but then Tristan didn't, almost, as a viewer.
It wasn't like that. It was at the end.
As a viewer, I think that's the impression I got. Like, I could be totally wrong, just an impression.
I mean, there was definitely a faction that supported my stance, and there was the faction that supported Tristan's stance.
I mean, look, like, as someone who creates now, I can understand both, and I don't care about either. You know what I mean?
It's definitely a tough decision, right?
Oh,
like, I think
I
anybody in that position would have been like, fuck, do I take the risk or not?
At the end of the day, if his heart's not in it, his heart's not in it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to, like, drag someone along who doesn't want to do it, you can't, like...
So was there no option to just do it without Tristan?
I mean, we wanted to respect Tristan's wishes because there was the conversation of like, should we do this without Tristan? You know, but it just felt wrong.
That's understandable.
Because I wanted to leave the option. I asked Tristan, would it be okay if we continued, and then at any point, if for whatever reason you want to return, the doors are always open.
Yeah.
And Tristan was like adamant, no, I don't. And I understand because this was his baby.
I get
as
it.
well.
I get it.
Of course.
No, I don't feel comfortable letting my baby go and just seeing what happens.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that was kind of like the last straw. There was no going back from that. And that's basically how it ended. And it was after that I kind of lost a lot of motivation because I'd put so much of myself into getting this revamped, and it just felt like it was just all taken away and it was out of my control. And I learned a lot from Potaku with like working on group projects and everything like that. And I should probably, and I want to say, I'm not throwing shade at Tristan at all. We still get along great.
Yeah, we all get along with
Tristan.
him.
I love Tristan.
Really stand-up guy.
It was just a point where we just had creative differences.
It happens, man. It happens.
I feel that's a very normal thing. People, what I'm trying to say is I really
People
hope.
want to demonize and like don't.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not demonizing Tristan. We just
No, yeah,
we
we-
just had a different way of approaching things. I still think back to Potaku and I still think, hey, I think it ended too early, and he obviously thinks the other way, and he thought the other way back then, and that's basically what it boils
Just
down
how it
to.
is, man.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
Yeah, 'cause obviously we don't want anyone going and being like, "What the fuck, man? Why'd you not believe in it, man?" I mean, like I said earlier, like if your heart's not in it, your heart's not in it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen.
And I mean, can anyone like really blame Tristan? Like again, it's a fucking like I would have really been
I didn't
deliberating
believe
as
in
well,
it,
right?
If I didn't believe in it, I'm normally someone who's like adamant about shit, right? So
Yeah.
I would be like, no.
Yeah.
I don't believe in this.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I would be like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's it's just how it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I always look back to think, well, what could be?
What could it be,
What
yeah.
could be? But that was just the end of an era, and now we're in a new era, and everyone's gone down the different paths. I'm really amazed to see what people are getting onto nowadays, and it's fucking great. And I still speak to all the cast members every now and again, especially when we get to meet at conventions. and
Hey,
everything.
bottom line is that at least there isn't a single member of Potaku that went and killed their family. All right, like,
Oh, that's a take.
whoa! They didn't go down a Mr. Anime route. All right, like let's just that's the silver lining. Right? Can we all just say that's the silver lining?
Cue 80s outro where it tells you what we've all been up to.
The fucking snapshot. It's like yeah.
Joey didn't kill his family. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. That's a fucking take. Oh my god. Okay, before we end it, right? Like, I guess the way I see it, right, is if you were still doing, Potaku, Trash Taste probably wouldn't exist. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say, that it's I'm glad that your passion project fucking died. But I'm glad that we have this,
No, I'm very glad as well. Please don't kill your families, guys. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I'm British. How do I get a gun? I don't even know how do you get a
Yeah,
gun?
right. How do you do that?
Walmart?
I don't want to have to make a twit longer. That's like so about Connor.
Oh no.
My thoughts on Sea Dog V.
No.
My fucking god. Oh.
This is gonna be real ironic if you kill your family, Joey, and then we have this.
Yeah, I know,
we gotta
right?
stop talking about kill. I'm so sorry.
That's two YouTubers with anime in their name who fucking did that.
it's a curse, man. It's
Yeah.
Like
it's a
Mr. Anime. I mean the Anime Man. I mean both.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit. We should have seen the signs all along, man. It was in the name. My god.
it kind of felt that when Potaku ended, that it kind of like it's like tearing down the Berlin Wall, right?
Yeah.
You're just letting everyone fucking loose, right? Because
Yeah.
I feel like when a big pillar in a community kind of falls, right? It's just like just a ton of people coming.
Free for all, right?
Basically, yeah. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like everyone's looking for the new, like, all right, who's the person I'm going to listen to?
Yeah.
Like we don't really have that at the moment. I don't feel in NHG.
No.
Maybe we do. We have a few big people, but I feel that's when definitely, like you said, the new era just was like, all right,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
because,
like, hi.
because back then it was all about doing anime reviews, and then I would say the content started to really like it kind of like opened the doors to all different kind of content. Like you were doing more vloggy videos, and analytical channels start to come along. So I feel. It was a coincidence that it happened during the end of Potaku, but I feel like for our community, that was a big turning point.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I remember that was when demo came along as well.
I
It
think
was
so, yeah.
near enough back then when you were starting.
And he fucking changed the game as well.
Oh,
didn't
no,
he?
definitely.
Man, like there is, I don't think there's a single AniTuber that's on the platform right now and no longer on the platform who didn't look up to Demo.
Yeah.
In any
If
aspect.
you did anime
right?
stuff, yeah.
If you did anime stuff, like Demo was just a name that came back, right? He's like the dad that went to go
Yeah.
buy cigarettes and just never came back, right?
I'm glad I came into it when I did, right? I feel like I came into it at the time where it's perfect because it was where I wanted to make the content I wanted to make, right?
Yeah.
I think you came at a perfect time because it was around the time when the whole anime YouTubing thing really diversified itself in terms of
Yeah,
its
yeah,
content.
yeah.
So people like you who did very unconventional anime content, it was very easy to like just slip in. Right?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm glad that it's gone to the point where we can, make a set like this, right? Because
Yeah.
in my mind, I didn't want to do a podcast unless it was this good.
Yeah.
Right? Like I have no interest in it. Like I don't want to do audio.
Yeah, this-
Everyone has an audio podcast.
Yeah.
Like
right.
this is what I kind of wanted to push Potaku to the direction of going. Like maybe like we obviously didn't live in the same place, but my idea was, hey,
Eventually,
what if we all flew to a place
recorded
a
yeah.
ton of episodes
Yeah.
and released it on a schedule.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and we could do that on a periodic basis based on like whatever funding we could have gotten.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I have you guys now who.
Yeah.
It's taken me how long?
Potaku 2.0.
Oh no!
Hey, I'm not the one saying that, alright? The fuck ton of people in that first episode were like, this is just Potaku 2.0. No.
I'm hosting next, so I'm just gonna do that intro.
You have to do it.
Yeah, you have to do it now.
I mean, it's great, man. I mean, like you said earlier about the like ambition of it. I think us three really have like really great ideas of ways that we want to make this not just a podcast, right? It's really crazy. Like the Akiba video was just like the step in the
I would like to say, I thought up of the Akiba video in the shower.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Thank you to our patrons for supporting this episode.
You guys are freaking awesome. If you'd like your name
Oh
on
my
the screens
God.
as such and other bonuses, then make sure to support us over on Patreon.
Start taking more showers.
Oh.
It's super zen.
Oh, no.
You know what you can start doing? Following us on Twitter and the subreddit, which is always in the description below. Send us your memes. Send us your Gigak in the shower anime zone
Best
memes.
thing about our Twitter is that one of us will make a post and the other two have to figure out who did it.
yeah, like the fucking tier list tweet. I was like, wow. This,
You knew it was me because
Yeah.
he was poking fun at him, but he was like, I don't know who did it.
yeah, in my head, I was like, which of these fuckers did that?
I signed up to make a tier list account just for that meme. Never made one in my life. Just did it for that.
I like the commitment. That was good.
Yeah.
Man. For the memes, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if you'd like to send us your memes, then the Twitter and subreddit always open. You guys send us some fucking dank ass memes over there.
I love the chess manga stuff.
The
that
chess
everyone's
memes
made.
blowing
Some,
up.
some of
right
the
now.
images I've seen.
You guys are too talented.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, the
What
fan art has been
fuck?
fucking
You guys
awesome.
have way too much talent to be making this stuff. Just saying, like some of you, too good.
Yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you guys in the next
We've
one.
been the Neanderthal boys. Did we?
The naughty Neanderthals. The viewers of the naughty Neanderthals.
okay.
We've
Yeah,
been
yeah,
the
yeah.
Anitubers who haven't killed their families.
Yeah.
Was this a thing that we're doing now? There is no way we're getting monetized this episode.
Worth it for the joke.
God damn.
But I've been your host Joey, and as always, my co-host Grant and Connor, and we'll see you guys next episode.
Subscribe to my YouTube.
God damn it.